Live. Let's get this bad boy going. Mm, mm,
I
mm,
should have been
mm,
vaping
mm, mm,
before.
mm. That part.
Oh, no lead-in, just go
Just,
live. Okay.
I know, right? It's supposed to go itself.
At last.
The king's back and the throne's mine. The future's here and it's my time. Straight shot, going for the head with it. Take his head off and say that I did it. Good riddance. Say hi to the bad guy, I'm back in business. If you took what's mine, I'm back to get it. There's nothing you can do, I'm back with vengeance. Now turn me loose. Now turn me loose.
All right, let me get my ugly face in here. Let me get my ugly face in here because I know I'm ugly. I know it. Hey, welcome to the Great Pill Podcast. I am the host for the most, Angelus. We have a good conversation. The topic of today is why do individuals worship false idols when it comes to social media? So you see the thumbnail, you see the title. Let's go. All right. So just to introduce everybody, like always, you got Classic Ruby. Classic Ruby, go ahead. Let them know where they can find you at, lady.
Well, hi, I'm Classic Ruby, as Angela said, and I can be found not really on Classic Ruby, so don't even bother. Go to I'll Be That News, okay? That is where I can be found doing the news twice a week. Plus, we were like record and release stuff every single day. So yeah, it's at I'll Be That News, all one word. On YouTube, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, name a platform. That's where you'll find me. I'll be that news. That's it.
All right, good stuff. So again, you can check her out at All That News, and she do be pumping out a whole bunch of content. So that part is very
Right?
good, very informational too. Very
You see how many
informational.
subscribers we have already? We have 81. Literally an hour ago we had 79. Like because our one of our things finally went viral. It's our Jerry Springer show, so it's kind of exciting. It's like well over 2,000 views, and it's like on the YouTube suggestion page. So I feel kind of like a superstar. Like right now, you guys are getting me like right before I'm like famous. So lucky
Okay.
you.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Same thing with you know what I take it as an honor, as a blessing. Same thing with NT. He's in a whole different space where a vast minority of aggressive content creators and panelists and chats come on through. So I felt like so you're like another one with him. So I saw like a great potential with his content. So if he blows up, I'm like, hey, I the guy who interviewed him. Same thing with you.
Mm-hmm.
One day it might be an interview like you had with me on your panel before. So
Yes.
yeah, I am very honored, very very honored. So who else we
Thank
got
you.
up here? Who else we got up here? Like I always got Wes. Appreciate you, Wes.
Good evening.
How are we doing, sir? What's new in the world today?
Well, I'm good. So I'm the one and only Plaid Pill. I show up upon request. You can't find me anywhere else. But I'm always happy to give my perspective on things, and I try to think my way through things. I really try to understand everything. Aside from that, what's new with me? Not a whole lot. Looking for the job again. Didn't like the last one too much.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. And Miss Cookie. First of all, how do you come up with country cookie? Because I just like calling you cookie. That's just me. I'm being biased.
Yeah, that's what my family calls me.
Country
Cookie.
cookie?
What's the recipe
No,
for that?
my family just calls me Cookie. I call myself country because I'm from Waco, Texas, and that's the country.
Okay,
I don't know if you know where that is, but
I know what Texas is.
David
Um,
Koresh. The Branch
So
Davidians.
a dart at the map. Usually, you hit Texas.
Dead in the middle. Dead in the middle. Did you celebrate Juneteenth since you're in Texas and Texas has a history of that?
No, I teach history, so I don't celebrate Juneteenth.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. That might be a conversation too. She's like,
Hey, listen, I'm not American, right? So to be fair, I only found out Juneteenth existed like a few years ago, and my understanding
It only
is
came into existence a few years ago. So.
no, it didn't. It's existed like since,
It's been a thing since I was a
it's been a
kid.
thing. But I thought it started really originating like the people in Texas specifically, since they were kind of like the last to know.
It did.
Right? So I would have figured since you're from Texas, you for sure been like it's a thing there. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised to hear you say, yeah, no.
Nah, I heard somebody else say the same thing too, and it was in Texas. They was like, I didn't hear anything. And I'm like, really? Really?
I've known about it. I just know the history of it, and I don't think it's something to be celebrated. It's my opinion.
That's fair. All right, so just get one announcement. So again, guys, if you're new, definitely hit the bell notification, hit the subscribe button for everybody. Please, please, please hit the bell notification. So successfully, the Grey Pill Podcast, y'all guys, we have it locked every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Me and Class Ruby will be here with other guests coming on through. And speaking of another special guest, Ruby's going to love this lady. All right. Miss Cold Mel, Cold Truth.
Oh gosh. Thanks a lot.
If you like to
leave me up there.
Yeah, you got to big you up, because like I said, I like to do my homework. People, I just don't like to jump in, just throw people on panels and stuff. So that's how I do it.
Yeah, you just made me the only one. Cool.
Yeah. Matter of fact, so it might be another moment too with Ruby, and like it was one with Auntie. It might be another one with Auntie. That's another content creator. So let me drop these two people, because I like the stuff that you bring to the table with the conversations. So if you don't mind introducing the people and tell us what you're about and what your content about.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I'm Mel, or Melissa, but I go by Mel online. And my channel is about just the cold truth about real crime, mostly, and grifters.
Oh, you're gonna fit right at home in the Grey Pill Podcast.
Yeah.
You're gonna fit right at home. If I see gray areas, let's have that conversation.
Yeah, gray's where it's at.
Oh yeah, the gray's where it's at. Unfortunately, before the gray, everybody loved to just run to the black and white of things, and nobody want to go to the gray.
Nope.
I appreciate. Oh, how was the trip to Mexico? Because I know I said it on your end, but I just want to bring it up again.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
That's good.
Just an awesome trip.
That's good. I'm a big foodie, so
apparently I'm a fan of grasshoppers, so there was that. But Lord, I didn't have my bifocals on, and I didn't know that I was eating grasshoppers for like 3 days. And the waiter was like, "So good to see an American like our delicacies," and I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "The grasshoppers." It's like, oh my gosh, I've been eating these for 3 days. No wonder my stomach was upset.
Oh, but when the taste of it though, how was the taste?
Oh, they taste great. It was nice and salty and like crispy,
Okay. Because I see it was a guy I follow. I can't remember his name, but he always rocking this little red bandana. He goes all the world, eat these weird foods. So he went to like 9 parts of Mexico, and one of them had like ants, bugs, roaches, beetles, and he was just tearing them up.
Yeah, like I don't eat bugs on purpose. Well, yeah. Still.
Okay.
I do a lot of shit on accident, I feel like.
Okay. Fair enough. Hey, at least you got the experience, so I'm jealous of that. So appreciate you for coming on through, so we can have that conversation. All right, let me drop my ugly face down here. All right.
Hi, Country Cookie. I thought I watched your guys' live. Was that last week or the week before? I think
it was last week. Yeah, if Cookie was here, it was last week. Yeah, that was an interesting one. And Cookie had dived in a little bit further than I did in the conversation, because I'll start with the most of it, and I like to get shocked with the rest of it. And Cookie was like, no, you got to read the bottom. And I read it, I was like, this is a lot. This is a lot. So I don't know what's going on
Hi,
with that
other
lady.
It was a lot. We need to do a follow up, see what the money went.
Yeah. Really? Well, I don't think that I mean, I can look into it and do like a little upload about it, but I don't think. I mean, I
There's
think
no
everybody
whole
pretty much gets the same. I think everybody gets the same with the situation with the lady. She just, I personally feel like the way she was going about it, she took the GoFundMe and took half it for herself, and maybe gave him a little portion of it, like, hey, there you go, pity, pity, and a little pat on the head. So I don't know.
Oh, I disagreed with everything y'all said last week, but I mean,
Really?
it's okay. In
Really?
general, I did. 99% of the things y'all said, I was sitting there and furiously in the chat going, "You're wrong, and here's why." That was me. So if you remember, like that one chick who just wouldn't shut the hell up, Country Cookie, that was me. It was me in the chat.
I
Well,
don't want
we might
You're
do a
wrong,
follow up.
here's why.
We
I
might do a
don't
follow
want
up there.
that. So
Okay. No,
I'll go
because
back
you
and
said at
look.
one
So
point.
just now you said something.
I like you already,
Yeah,
Cookie, because I can't stand nobody be in that chat. I swear to you, like it's like a whole different world in the chat versus the panel. Like we got to have our own conversations. Let the chat engage.
Yeah.
As long as that rude, yeah, as long as that rude disrespectful. But oh, speaking of rude disrespectful, I don't know if you've seen it yesterday. This is for the rest of the panel. I did a reaction to Pearly thing. This would come to the gray part, Mel. So I did a reaction. None of the let me talk about the character or smear the character, but let's have the conversation. It was the interview of Pearly Things interviewing Nick Fuentes, who's a well-known white supremacist. It's in the Google, it's in the wikis, all over. And so I saw the part one of it because according to Pearly Things, she's like, hey, everybody's always talking about me, attacking me, putting hit pieces, and there's always context. There's no context right there. That's okay. Well, let me take the time out to view the whole interview and get the context. So I viewed the first part of it. It was like a 3 hour and 40-something minute interview, alleged interview, because I know real interviews versus just letting people talk. And I was like, this is a lot to digest. So I had to do a part two. So when I ended up doing the part two from a couple of days ago, I believe, all of the supporters of Nick Fuentes just rolled up in the chat. And it wasn't now, yeah, and here's the crazy part. It wasn't talking about Nick Fuentes. It wasn't like really about Nick Fuentes. It was like, hey, interview, debate this other guy, War Tool or War whatever. They just kept spamming in the chat. And the mom was like, hey, what does that have to do with the conversation? And then they started sending little strawberries and stuff. And it was crazy. But it wasn't like really rude. It's more like the annoying part. Because so when I hit subscribe mode thing, like, okay, if you're here for the genuine conversation, you'll hang around a little bit. Two stayed in, and one was like, hey, can you debate this person? I'm like, okay, you've been saying debate for 20 minutes. The topic isn't about that person. You're more than welcome to stay and go from there. So slowly they kind of filter out and they left from there. So it is what it is. It is. Shout out to Tommy and his new fan. Appreciate you, Tommy. And this is another Canadian space on West, so very supportive. I appreciate Tommy Temper. He's always multiple streams. He's like the this is my interpretation of it. He's like the, not saying he's an old man, but remember the old man in the back of the source of the Matrix when Neo comes in and he's seen with the multiple screens? That's Tommy Temper. Tommy Temper's have multiple streams open as he's doing his commentary, and he'll just sit there and let everybody see multiple streams open. And he'll promote whoever he likes. So I appreciate Tommy Temper. He's he has no time for foolery with the doxing. That's pretty much his main thing. But he's very, very open with conversations. So I appreciate you, Tommy, bringing in the Nuke family. Appreciate you. Yes, and Sincere, you have email. Sincere, you have emails. You have the email. So you're more than welcome to come on through. All right. So let's get the conversation since we're talking about Pearly Things. If you haven't heard about her, she is a 26, soon to be 27-year-old woman who started her YouTube content about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years. She talks about relationships. She talks about, ding, trigger warning, red pill content. That's actually blasted or bastardized all over the web. The FBI is actually listening to stuff like that. She's supposed to be talking all about relationships. But unfortunately, for Miss Pearly Things, she is a 26 single woman telling everybody about relationships. Is she a doctor? No. Is she a therapist? No. Does she have any experience with the type of relationships that everybody around the world talk about? No. But somehow she blew up in the world web of YouTube, 1.52 million subscribers, 4 channels, and run around. And one of her main channels after her first main channel is called what's it, Housewives or something, where she's actually supposed to be teaching women to how to be wives.
Wife school.
Yeah, wife school. Thank you. Can you imagine that? Also, another one we just mentioned, Nick Fuentes, where he's sneakily lurking around. Where he has his own channel, which he was banned from all platforms, so he actually be on all the multiple platforms. I had the honor of being on Obsidian's channel, where he had him on when everybody was asking questions and interviewing him. So that was a little bit new and shocking, but it was a treat just to have that conversation, see where his head at one-on-one. Now we have the famous in all the media is Andrew Tate. If you don't know who Andrew Tate is, he's literally on every media platform out there. Every media platform out there. He's the top G. He's the ex kickboxer. According to the people out there in the world, he promotes positivity to men. He promotes Muslim culture. He promotes all the above, and yet, unfortunately, he also he also got himself in a situation where, hey, he went on his way, made the choice between him and his brother to start a webcam business, promote some women. It's all in the uploaded content that I showed earlier, where him giving a 40-something minute blueprint of how to get the girl, F the girl, get her to your place, and say, hey, you start a webcam. Here's the other 5 girlfriends that I got, and you're number 6, 8, 9, 10. And hey, and if you feel a little bit hesitant and suspect of it, let me get my bottom B, the pimp's handbook. Let me get my bottom B, show you around, because if you're not listening to my word, a pretty woman will tell you something different. So, and here you are. So now you're stuck here. So he's got a lot of charges against him. One for graping, one for tax evasion, and another one for sex trafficking. So it just announced like 2 days ago. Well, he kind of opened up himself because he just loved the self-snitch, where he was on an interview with somebody else saying, hey, he's actually been charged. He's officially been charged. So he will be going on trial for this. Now, me, low-key petty, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see the interview go down and see how this works out. So we all know the justice system, you got to be right or wrong. I get it. But for me, court of public opinion, we know when you do rap videos, you self-snitching. That's always been a thing. You do rap videos or some music, you're always coming from perspective of your own. So to me, when he did the whole 42-minute video of saying, hey, this is how you do this, this is how you do that, and then go on other podcasts and start tacking on to stuff like that, to me, you did it. And that's my personal opinion. So let me bring up Jedi Mike, and then we'll get the conversation going. What's going on, Jedi?
How you doing? You hear me?
Yes, mic check. Everybody doing mic checks before they came in. Good stuff. All right, so the question is, what do y'all think about individuals in the media, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, OnlyFans, Facebook, anything you could think of? Why do we feel like people idolize false idols like this in the media? Because we have actual doctors, we have actual therapists, we have news reporters to say, hey, I'm bringing you the actual facts as it's coming. I'm bringing you the actual truth as it's happening. People here in the YouTube space are always big about receipts. I'm showing you this is exactly what it is. Unfortunately, you have people in their comment section, in their live chat say, hey, you go, Andrew Tate, you go, Nick Fuentes, he's speaking facts, she's speaking facts, when you can literally show them the whole, not a white lie, a whole full page of a lie. Anybody? Go ahead, Jedi.
Force is strong with this one.
There's like a little a quote that I remember from a show I used to watch, just talking about how, it's all an illusion. It's just like a cruel, like elaborate trick conjured by the weak to inspire fear. Is that it's just a crave for power. Everybody, whether they want to admit it or not, want to be in a position where they have power or influence. And when you are in a season or period in your life where you feel powerless, you try to gravitate to people who have the power that you want. And this is how people, whether um, to belittle, people like just people in your peer group, in terms of, oh, I'm the superior person under you, but I'm gonna keep you around because you're gonna make me feel better. 'Cause I know I'm better than you. Like those type of things. That's what certain followers, they put themselves in positions where they try to put them in a pedestal that's so high that people want to strive to, but it's unrealistic, right? And again, it's like whether you want to bring receipts or anything like that to somebody. Again, everybody like to believe in the fantasy because again, if they believe they listen to this person who they basically um, either intentionally or unintentionally gave them that power to say, hey, listen, whatever you say, I'm going to take that as gospel, right? But in anybody, regardless whether, any position you are in life, if you put someone in that position, they can be used that for be there for your benefit or your detriment. And you see amongst the many followers, any type of community or space, whether it might be TikTok or whatever, is that we've seen the negative side of that, more tremendously than the positive.
Influencer is just the coin term alone is new to us, like especially my age group. It's something to adjust to, but I think it gets blown out of proportion, kind of like exactly what you were saying. But I don't know. I don't get it. I don't like either one of them. I don't know much about Nick Fuentes, but he doesn't sound like a great person.
Yeah,
I don't understand the whole Andrew Tate thing. I think he's a psychopath. Just to
Okay.
be blunt.
Yeah.
So the search for God, search for higher calling, search for a higher belief. This is nothing new to humankind. This is just a different form of the same thing we've been going through since the dawn of civilization. You can go look back 30 years ago. We didn't have all this internet, but what we still had sports was still a lot stronger. For a lot of people,
Yeah.
that was how they worshipped. Sports. What do you call it? Football players, baseball players, basketball players. Everybody had their favorite player. Everybody argued about their favorite players. Those were their gods to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, there's always, when TV first came out, there was like 3 channels. And there's like only 3 news sources.
Right.
Now it's a bit different where everything is blurred. Now you have a lot of options. And we're dealing with a lot of societal, I like to call it a constant societal evolution. A lot of things change, a lot of things stay the same, but most things, they just kind of mutate. And this is what we're dealing with now. So a lot of kids grow up and they're watching TikToks and YouTube and they're like, I want to follow this person. And you look at it, you're like, wow, that person's a complete idiot. They got 4 million followers. All they do is dump Orbeez in a pool. Really? You need to block that shit. But this is first world problem where people have so much time, not enough to do that. They're wasting time. Then they start feeling lost. When you start feeling lost, it starts getting a lot easy to follow ideologies. Sometimes you follow an ideology that points in the right direction. Sometimes you follow one that that takes you down the wrong path. And if you ever talk to I once had somebody try to sell me a third party, like a mortgage payment system where they're like, oh, well, the thing is, because there's 52 weeks in a year, we squeeze out an extra mortgage payment. Well, okay. Yeah. If you want to tell me that there's, if you divide 52 by 2, it equals 26. I agree with you, but this is how like the influence can really screw with someone's mind. They tell them the things that they know are true, but somehow they convince them that it's something else. Ultimately, it was a scam. It was one of those white collar scams that was completely illegal. Just you had to follow the math. Most people couldn't do that. They followed the hype of it. So you have all these influencers that are just pushing things like, look at all the followers. I have all these followers. So obviously I am a god. You must follow me. And they start pushing lip fillers and surgeries and stuff. And it's like, I just happen to be famous for no reason. But people follow them.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous. I think it was Homer that stated the mark of an educated mind is the ability to entertain an idea without believing it.
Mm,
I
like
have to
that
look
one.
it up, but that's kind of the gist of it. And this is where we come in, because this is what we're doing. We're entertaining ideas without having to actually believe in them. And this is where society needs to come to. This is the new social square. And I've been saying this for as long as I've been on YouTube. This is the new social square where people are coming together and talking. I think for probably a generation and a half, people have been starved for this. So they're jumping at it full force, not even looking at what's beneath the water. So that's why we're seeing the rise of so many social media giants, just normal people talking and speaking their opinion. You're like, wow, it's so brave. Someone's speaking their opinion. But
Yeah.
that's where the actual conversations, because people are starved for these conversations. But then you have that other channel. What's it called? Fight Club? I can't watch that. I can't watch that.
It is wild.
Well, I will say this now is like we're now given, like, because of the age of technology now, we're now given an opportunity now we can speak our mind while even having face-to-face interaction with each other. Because there's one thing saying things behind an icon with no face on it, but it's one thing to saying to someone's face when you're in there in person or in the same room, whatever, right? There was a time where it's like you had an issue with me. You have to go to my place of business or where I live, knock on the door, and then I have to answer. And then, that's no here or there, right? And that's like kind of level of how we were able to establish either conversations, disagreements, compromise, peace, meetings and all stuff like that. But instead, we just like to uh, hide behind, an icon, whatever, and then actually just echo, things out of impulse or whatever. Because if you've seen it, well, in the community, for example, like whether it might be the red pillars or whatever, they like to be in a position where like they can say anything they can on the chat, whatever, because we give them that platform to do so, right? And it doesn't matter whether you have moderators or whatever, they're still going to come, right? I had I don't know if I ever sent this to you, Great Pill. I'm about to get married in a couple of weeks, right? And
Okay.
and I had and I used to be, well, I am a content creator.
At last.
Yes, I know, right? Right. Finally, after 20 years. Right. Yes, a woman was finally lucky, that I've chose her. Right. I know. But no, it was after you see any I just lost my train of thought for a second. Hold on.
I'm sorry. Morpheus do that to people. Morpheus do that to people sometimes.
Yeah. No, but the point what I'm saying is that I had someone that just recently got in my DMs on Instagram, right, and started trolling, right, on my comments, on my engagement photos and stuff, asking, "Are these people still married yet, or is it just for show?" And then going on to other people's contacts and stuff if they don't know. I'm not in the streets like that. Whatever. I don't start beef. I'm like Chick-fil-A. I gave you chicken. There's no beef. I'm open on Sundays, but like and like. I don't understand, like, I don't bother anybody, whatever, but they just come do that just to stir up havoc. And they don't, and then you look on their account, it's not their face. They're just like of an anime character, right? It's just like, and they're gone. And all of a sudden, and I block them, and then, might have another person might show up on the YouTube channel, whatever, and you understand why. Because, it goes to that famous line that some people are not looking for a sense of purpose or higher power. Some people just want to watch the world burn and just like to see chaos. I don't. In some platforms, you arguing like that, it drains the life out of me. Go ahead.
What's crazy, Jedi? Before, like for me, like, because you was giving like steps, like, hey, before the media people come to your door, or hey, I'll see you when I see you, and then I have that conversation because it's on your mind. Then moving a little bit forward for me, because I'm from the gamer side, like all that little shenanigans stuff, that to me that's normal, right?
That's normal.
Like, hey, yeah, you see a little avatar. Yeah. You'll see somebody like teabag you in the game, or see somebody just in the chat just talk so much stuff. So they will. I thought those are more clever trolls because you don't see nobody's faces. You see an avatar, and you'll see somebody typing up words to antagonize you. And if you fall for those antagonized typed in words, then you already pretty much lost. So now here we are on where we can see our faces on media, whether you're avatar or not, and people still will say something in the chat. People say something on the platform, and then it's like they get so triggered. It's like, just raging out, saying the most outlandish words. And this is what I say to other people. And because I know I usually like to do solution based at the ending, but this is what I tell people over and over again. I had one content creator, she's in chat. I love her to death. She always talk about she go through it. I hear another content creator in another space go through it again. And I'm like, hey, create your own space. If you have a platform, what you have now, create the space that make it welcoming for you. If you know, like in your own home, you pay all the bills, you pay what you need to take care of, is you got your 4 walls, your car, whatever, you control that. You should control the same way you live in here in your own space. I remember when I had 38 subscribers and 2 individuals came in trying to promote my channel, and we pretty much was supporting the same channel, I instantly block them. Like, that's a no-no. You know, I shouldn't have to tell you that, but that's a no-no. I'm not going to argue with you about it. I'm not going to make no whole long debate about it. That's just a no-no. Right. Perfect example for the old, I gotta say they're fanboys of Fuentes, but they was clearly supporters. 30 of them just rolled in deep. And I had a big smile on my face like, look, it's not that serious. Hey, my time, you get one chance only. Warn them, time them out. After that, block them because I don't need you. YouTube is 1 trillion, 1 billion large. Trust and believe me. This will sit me in algorithms all over the place to where some people like yourself, Wes, he's not a YouTuber, he's a content creator. He loved the gym conversation. Those are people I want. Cookie came in, this is her second time over here. I've been on platforms that she frequents all the time. These are people that I want. Same thing with Classroom. I'm gonna give you praise, Ruby. I still have a screenshot you had in Duke and Dawn where you said the Gray Pill podcast, this would be it. This would be the new biggest thing. And I still hold that to this day. So you have people like that will still give you positive message, but unfortunately you have negative people that not really negative people, but you have people that's so stuck and engulfed into these lazy negative spaces. Like, let me keep talking about this same toxic space. Like, what did that prove? How does that help? I'll give you one, right? I'll give you one and done. But if that same space to keep echoing your name, or the same no life losers is on platform talk about that one person, then guess what? It's not they're the problem. But now what happens is if I come onto a quote unquote Jedi mic that's bashing me, and it's multiple times, now I'm counteracting, hopping on panels into the chat. Now I have the problem. The sickness is within me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't let them get to you. Like, as soon as that happens, like, this isn't the space for you. Like, if you don't have a really thick skin and you can't just like brush off things that, like, you got to know yourself, and then everything else is just irrelevant. But all kinds of people are going to come at you from every angle, but you just got to know why you stand on what you stand on, wherever you
have to learn that the hard way. Because I'm new to this, but true to this. And I was just kind of like, there's some bored people on Earth. That's the way I see it. There are some bored people on Earth. To answer your first question, why are people... I'm going to jump into a rabbit hole and say I blame the healthcare system.
Oh, it's not the Matrix? It's not the Matrix?
Well, that part of the Matrix, the healthcare system, that doesn't exist. I think it's cheaper to buy a super chat than it is to go seek therapy. So you go to these people that make you feel good or don't and get your fix of toxicity or your boost of confidence, or I'm going to live my way like them, my life like them, instead of going and figuring out what your real issues are. And I just think I blame the healthcare system, because it's a lot of mental health issues going back to the comments and the trolls. It's a lot of mentally ill people out here.
Yeah. I get what you're saying though. Like, it's like a deflection. Like, I don't really want to tackle that, but I'm going to talk about Andrew Tate or Pearly things, or, like, stand on what they stand on, or what they say they stand on anyway.
Absolutely. Copycats. Just like serial killers, little copycats.
Or blind faith, like most people, like, again, a little bit of the religious aspect. Again, they're human, they're fallible, they're flawed, but unfortunately, somehow they'll put these type of individuals in YouTube as deities. Anything they say, anything they do, well, I give you an example. Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate says, "You're supposed to work hard, build yourself up, get good credit," and then somebody would say, "He's speaking facts." Well, dog, I've been telling you that for 5 years. Also, now a guy just says that, and now suddenly you gung ho.
He doesn't say it; he's yelling it with his shirt off in a Lambo. That I mean, he's just such a cliche. I don't get it.
Yes, that's
it makes perfect sense. It's just you're analyzing it through the wrong lens. You have to analyze it through the lens that most of the people who are in these spaces who have YouTube gods or YouTube daddies or whatever you want to call it, right, are people who feel ostracized, who feel like they don't belong, who feel like they're not good enough, who feel like, you know what, all they want is like a normal existence and they're not even good enough to ever achieve that normal existence, right? And so when you think that you're not good enough, right? Maybe you've been not good enough your entire life and, you know, got bullied in grade school, middle school, high school, could never get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, could never get, you know, friend groups even, you know, could never get a good job, could never get the pride or respect of your parents or whatever it is, right? It's a lot of a load, especially, you know, these days where you're going into Facebook, into Instagram, into all these places that are telling you that everyone else's life is perfect. So really the only person who's failing is you, right? And you don't realize that everyone else is lying and everyone feels the way you do and no one's really much better off, right? And so especially if you're socially awkward and you don't have a lot of friends. And so then you find this space online that tells you that it's not your fault. For whatever reason, it is not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. It's not your personal failures. It's society's personal failures. It's not your personal failures. It's modern women. It's not your personal failures. It's people are fat phobic, right? Like whatever it is, every single movement that is deified, right? With these, the reason why it doesn't matter what these leaders look like or whatever is because the most important factor is that they are living, breathing, walking avatars to represent you, right? So they are in essence letting you know, like if you think about it, Andrew Tate, the reason why he can do everything that he's doing and say everything he's saying and still be deified that way is why, because he's told all of these guys, I used to be you. I was a loser. And then I got up and I did this and this and this and this. And you know what? Hey, it's really super simple. It's super simple. You know, all you got to do is get a whole bunch of money. And that's super simple too. You just got to find a bunch of losers just like you and play them just like I played y'all. And then it's great. No problem. Right? That's what masculinity is all about. Is you just find the next group of younger people and you just play them. It's great. Right? Same thing with Pearl. She just figured out the right grift. You know how many grifts she's ran through? Like she's run through a lot of grifts, right? Because H3 was just doing something about her singing Black songs, predominantly Black artist songs, but like as jingles for printers and stuff like that. So she was already trying to do that, right? And then she was the super white girl who dates a Black guy. And then she was a super white girl examining Black things, right? And then like it's like literally she's been so many different grifts. So why is that working? Because she centers herself in that story as I'm representing that thing. So you know, if even if it's not for the men, it's not that, you know, these men want to be women. It's that she is going to be that woman for you. She's the woman who agrees with everything you say, who thinks that you're perfectly reasonable and rational, who thinks da 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 da, who will even tell you, yeah, I don't deserve anything because hey, I was a hoe back in college, right? Like she's literally that's what it is. It has to do with you being able to be a walking avatar to let other people know that they've done nothing wrong. The reason why they don't have the life they want is because everyone else besides them is failing and everyone else besides them sucks. And that's it. And that's what people are coming to the internet to get, is that level of validation. And as long as you're willing to give that to people, they will accept anything else you say, as long as you continue to also say the thing that validates them.
Fair. I'll let you go. I'll let you go. Hold on, Cook. I'll let you go. And it's a question pretty much asked to say, isn't that how cults and zealots come about?
Yes, literally. And it is a type of psychological programming, right? Or linguistic programming sometimes. And what people don't realize is that, you know, the majority of these people are just copying what someone else did. But you'll have like maybe 1 out of 10 of these daddies actually literally know that, right? Kevin Samuels is someone who used to talk about it on his channel when he was a nobody. He used to talk about it. Right. So like that's literally, yes, That's exactly what they're doing. They are literally programming you. They are literally tapping into that part of your psyche, just like cults do. FBI, CIA, there's a reason for this, right? Like, they tell you what they're doing as they're doing it, because it doesn't actually change the overall people's response to it. And even when they know that they're being played with, at best they'll say, hey, but that's so brilliant, I wish I could do that too, I want to learn how to do that. So it's fine. Yeah,
That's scary. Go ahead, Cookie.
Are really good.
I agree with her 100%. But and going back to what I said, don't you think it takes a certain level of not only low self-esteem, but a little mental illness, or maybe a little bit of a lack of education to fall into that trap of following these people?
How so?
I don't know.
I mean, to find somebody on the internet like Andrew Tate and be a deity follower because you feel like you're a loser and you want to be like him, isn't that some sort of a low self-esteem? Maybe even because you say it's psychological warfare, which I believe.
I think the low self, and this is me, we can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the low self-esteem part, like you already had it, but because and I'll give an example. Like when I came from the gamer side, I came here and I was like, okay, let me just, and this was literally around the pandemic. So it's like, okay, there's nothing to do. Everybody just home. So it's just one, right? I'm on the internet trying to find something. Netflix not doing it for Hulu, Amazon, okay, whatever. Then YouTube just like big thing. I came across one content creator. Okay, these are a bunch of cool bunch of guys, but they left an impression on me like, hey, still be a free thinker. Don't always agree to us. You know, even they had a disagreement moments like on Instagram. They do like disagreement days, whatever, and you could have genuine conversations with them about it. And it was pretty much fair on par with this. And this is Albert Preach. Shout out to them. And then down the rabbit hole, it was like pretty much somebody had a disagreement with them or something, another huger platform. Now it's like, it was like a weird little shift on the opposite side of it. It's like anything these guys said, they just listened to. So for me, I was like, okay, well, these guys sound toxic and horrible, but still let me listen to them if they're making sense. That at that point, that's when it comes to a choice. So they wasn't making sense for me in my real life, even if because everybody went through some kind of woe is me type of moment in their life. Nobody gonna sit there and say from the day they was born up to 45 or 55 years old, their life was just perfect. Nobody can't say that. You went through some trials and tribulations. Let's keep that 100. So as my trial tribulations going on, I didn't see no relation to these guys or these deities like a Pearly Things, No Experience, a Nick Fuentes, or Andrew Tate. The stuff they're saying, I'm like, okay, cool. I heard the little snippets of stuff y'all saying, but that loud noise y'all doing, that doesn't work for me. So I think that these guys already had the insecurities within them, and I think these type of people kind of like made it amplified for them. It's like, oh, you're speaking for me, like your politicians, your mayors, your senators, so okay, you're the voice for me. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stand behind you the whole time and just rah rah rah.
Right, just reeling them in like this. Just
well, they do, right? But there's another element to that, right? That makes it really clear why it doesn't have to be about insecurities and stuff like that, right? Now, you think about someone like, for example, Andrew Tate, right? A lot of the people you can point out and say it has a lot to do with insecurity, for wanting that group belonging, wanting to become men when they don't know how, whatever, right? But think about, and he's not the only type of YouTube daddy that there is, and deity that there is, right? But let's think about him for a second, because on the flip side, you have a bunch of narcissists that treat people really poorly, right? Or that are maybe even low-key abusive, whatever. They're engaging in some of these negative behaviors, and Andrew Tate is validating you. He's telling you you're not wrong. You're not a bad person for thinking this way. You're just a traditional man. Right? You're just trying to keep your household in check. You're just trying to whatever, right? So you're still getting validation in a way that, you would never get it from anywhere else, because everyone else is telling you, no, sorry, honey, if you just punched her in the face because she wore a skirt that was half an inch too short for you, that's abusive and it's wrong. But depending on which part of Andrew Tate's message you listen to today, you're going to get perfect validation for why that's perfectly reasonable. I mean, come on, he has a machete underneath his bed. So in comparison, what you did isn't so bad. right? And so then you're still getting that level of validation, and you're going to be willing to accept other things that he says that you maybe wouldn't have agreed with before, just because he's validating that one part of you that is getting you rejected or having you lose your family or whatever. Or going with family, right? A lot of people come into the red pill spaces because of cheating, because of child support court, because of these types of things, right? So
Yeah.
again, they're willing to accept a whole lot, no matter how much confidence they have in themselves and whatever, but they're willing to turn a blind eye or even fully support things they never would have otherwise,
That right
because
there.
their pain is getting validated, right? And
That right
like, it's
there.
not your fault. Yeah.
Turn a blind eye. And that's the thing that is so, I don't really give two forks about, Pearly or Andrew. It's not my generation. It's not my issue. But the thing is that people don't realize is that right there. It's like you're going to support someone without even, he's already innocent or he's already guilty. And both are so extreme. And like the middle is where we really need to try to concentrate, but we get these shiny, he's very aggressive, he's out there, he looks manly, this is what you're supposed to be, especially if you didn't grow. I grew up with a dad. My brother had my dad. I had my dad, but I get that, if boys don't have a father, like you want to find somebody. It's no different than how a televangelist turns into a Jim Jones, but like the problem is like you're not able to find the truth in that, like because you just blindly follow another human that is already said he's going to manipulate you.
Fair enough.
Won't drink the Kool-Aid, guys.
What color is it, Cookie? What color is it?
Red.
Bro.
Ignorance is bliss.
So there was only one Jim Jones. All the televangelists are there for the money.
Oh yeah.
But
they are.
For right or for wrong, part of the allure of these people like Andrew Tate and Fuentes and whoever else out there, for right or for wrong, these are people that are offering solutions in a modern society that is only presenting problems. So
right. It's an equate, like everybody wants.
I said, for right or for wrong, and Cookie, you're muted.
Yeah, I was like solutions.
See, that's what I'm saying. They're offering some sort of solution. When you see zero solutions and then somebody offers a solution, whether it's good or bad, it's the only solution you have.
Why don't more young? I mean, I know that there is quite a bit, but like, why is not? What about Jordan Peterson? I mean, I like him a lot.
What about him?
I think that he's someone that tried to like help men, right? Like what changes him from Andrew Tate? Like, why can't he be something?
Problem is he's telling young men to. So this is where Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson kind of overlap a lot. We're telling men that you are your own problem. You have to solve yourself.
Yeah.
From that, it diverges a lot.
Yeah.
But, Jordan Peterson, because he's not wanting to go with the government mandate or government approved status quo, he's the one that's getting, blocked a lot. Well, they try to make a mockery of him, but they just can't because he's actually making sense. Andrew Tate, unfortunately, he makes a lot of, too much sense for too many young men, but not enough young men are getting enough positive sources to work off of. So that's kind of the best alternative they have. Andrew Tate, he's been able to operate in the gray area of the law for a long time. That's what has allowed him to keep going. Jordan Peterson's never violated the law. He's just violated what the government mandated social conclusion is supposed to be.
That's not true.
Well, with I mean, cause I'm about to be 25, so I mean, I am the youngest person on this panel. I used to listen to Jordan Peterson when I was in college, like my early years and stuff. And this is when I started kind of getting more into politics. Like, the end of my senior year, and then like and when I was going to college. But then it was Jordan Peterson that Andrew Tate, at least every and all the men really want at a young age, or in terms of younger people, men want to go for someone who has a lot of sex appeal. Like, hey, listen, I don't want to be part of somebody, yeah, you can say have wisdom, but it ain't getting me laid. Not knowing that, the mindset of what Jordan Peterson, in terms of there's a more macro mission in terms of having this mindset to actually benefit society than having the more short term success of actually just getting laid and stuff like that, and getting many women you want. That's the reason why, right? And the thing is, that's why with Jordan Peterson, there might be some people who are saying, well, he's only a voice for incels. Well, guess what? At some point in a time in a man's life where he might want to well, I guess he want to retreat himself to his own, like might be in his own room or whatever, for a period of time, because he's trying to figure out what the hell he is and what he want to do with his life. Every man has been through that. Now the word now in terms of an incel, what you see now is people who want to remain in that position in their life and don't want to actually have a sense of purpose in their life, or whatever. They just want to kind of go into things for just short term pleasure, right? And that's what Jordan Peterson say. Those men are not forgotten, and they're not worthless. They just they just need terms of the right tools to actually pull themselves out of that environment, so they actually be someone in their life, right? But what's going on is that, in terms of modern times, you see people or celebrities. I think it was Olivia Wilde calling Jordan Peterson, oh yeah, this man just a leader for incels and stuff like that, right? Only because they want to get to the political side of it, of why, people might want to disagree with them. But really, if you actually take some of the things of like, okay, listen, I know we can curse on here, but pussy's not everything. It's like, especially if you had your fair share of it, it's just more than life than just, sleeping with women, right? And I know people might say it's easier said than done, but then I'm telling you, like, there's an everlasting thing where you realize I'm content in my life come actually having a positive impact, right? I don't have to have 1 million subscribers to know I'm a man of worth, right? I don't have to have audience of influencers, with 1 million subscribers, or on Twitch and stuff like that, to say, hey, I have level of importance. I'm about to get married. If I eventually have children, that's how you, in terms of having a positive outcome in society. Let alone, I mean, not saying having a platform like YouTube, whatever, doesn't help, whatever. But I'm saying at the end of the day, it starts when you cut this live button off, and when you actually enjoying your life when no one's watching.
Right.
Fair.
Yep.
So you brought up the term
I agree.
incels, and I think that's a very abused
So
term.
the question,
it is, but I think people use it in the wrong context. In the sense, on one end, they would like to label people they disagree with of men who are in a sense of like, well, there might be for a short term listening to people like Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate and other stuff like that, because they're like, well, I'm trying to figure this mess out, and I am socially awkward, but at the same time, I feel like I want to embody these people, even though at the end of the day, when you get older, you realize these are not the people I want to embody. But again, we live and we learn, we make mistakes. So at the end, they can be labeled in that sense that they might not want to have any lack of social skills, of taking care of themselves or whatever, resorting to things or whatever that's not actually benefiting them in a cognitive level, right? So they just remain complacent with things that just make them feel good for the short term, right? So then people would negatively say, label, that's incel, but in reality, they don't. People use it in the context in the social media to label a group of young men who they disagree with, and or might be hiding behind YouTube or icons or whatever, who's supporting someone they don't agree with.
Well, that's the same thing as simp, because simp was like go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say something about Jordan Peterson because he is literally from like my area, literally. But and I don't mean just as far as where he lives and teaches down the street from me, but also in the fact that we're both Pardon?
Y'all share coffee together?
Actually no, but he has shared coffee with people that went to, like, he taught at U of T. I didn't go to U of T, but I have friends who went to U of T and have taken his courses. So, I know people who know him, and I did meet him prior to him getting all big around here because we're in the same field, as in we're both evolutionary psychologists. And so as a result of that, I'm going to say, a unique perspective where I can evaluate what he's saying on a different level than the majority of people. A lot of the things that Jordan Peterson, kind of speaks about or is giving credit for bringing to these spaces, I brought to these spaces years before that. The reason why it was never accepted and lauded the way Jordan Peterson is because he's bastardizing the outcome, right? So there's a difference between the fact that we've done a study, and within these studies, it's determined certain types of things, right? He'll say that, but then he'll say that therefore means that women wear makeup. Okay, so for example, we've done studies that prove, for example, right, that men are more sexually attractive or aroused to women who have redder or pinker lips, have a flush in their cheeks, whatever, right? And so because of that, he'll say, therefore, women obviously wear makeup to be sexually arousing to men. Wait, what? Where's the study that says that, right? But because he'll refer to the first study, right? And then he makes this massive leap that the research doesn't actually support. And because he's a psychology professor, right? And he knows all the terminology and he knows so many other things, you trust him implicitly. And that to me is very problematic because it means that he's given more credence than he deserves, especially when I listen to it and I go, oh no, you lied there. Oh no, you're bastardizing this here. Oh no, this is wrong over here. And so it went from actually me being pretty excited that Jordan Peterson kind of was getting some play. Like, it's like, yes, finally, evolutionary psychology. Guys, I've been trying to talk to you about this. I was so excited. And then it was like, the more clout he was getting for being on the fringes, right? And the more support he was getting from fringe society, the more he started bastardizing the truth and objective facts, you know what I mean? So that way he could fit his message into fringe society and still be supported in that way, right? So
So he is sellout.
Pretty much, yeah. In a nutshell, right? And that's why I don't like him. It's not because he supports the incels or because of anything else. It's because he's full of shit. And he takes those kernels of truth. Excuse my French, but he takes those kernels of truth and then he builds all these false narratives around them. And because you can go back to that one little kernel of truth in there, then people think that it's 100% valid when it's not. So I just had to say that.
That's crazy. That's insane, almost.
That's Lily Pearly things. That's Lily that's our whole thing. Yeah. That's Lily Pearly. She would literally she could do like 5 contents, right? Lie, contradiction. And then she'll do like Lily one videos like, hey guys, I do videos all the time, interviewing people. Like, so I don't do videos all the time, but I go out my house, walk around and talk to people daily. So
right.
Am I right or you right? Make it make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say this. I still like Jordan Peterson, but because of what you said today, I will reevaluate as I listen to him to see if I can pick up on what you're talking about, because that is very interesting. And I'm not so I don't like him beyond a certain moral compass. You know what I mean? And if say I find out that he is a human trafficker, or he's done something such as Andrew Tate, that's obviously a time for reevaluating that you're, but the blind trust that this person is being falsely accused is just thrown around everywhere. And then the whole country is getting blamed of Romania. I don't know the politics of Romania, but I think it's quite a jump to go to a mass amount of people are conspiring against him because he interrupts the sale of, fast food. That was literally said today. It's wow. I don't, it's just little things like that, and then mental health. And if he is the reason that, him getting removed from Twitter, there's violent videos of him beating up a woman. I don't know. I just think that that blind faith in people people are just people. You can't have blind faith in anything anymore.
Right.
You don't have that luxury.
Yeah, because it kind of goes back to Jedi Mike said with the whole, face to face, person to person. So I know if I see this face to face, I got a number one, I got sister, I got women in my family. You say some things on screen, but I know if you say this in real life, you're gonna get a reaction out of me. Like it will split hairs for me. So I just can't understand like how
that though.
I agree.
They just want a reaction and they don't care about actually having a conversation.
Correct. Which is pretty much how media is today. Like, let me get the clout, let me get the engagement. Now, which is crazy because somebody recently said for Andrew Tate, they said, "Oh, he did all this and now he's seeing the bigger picture." I'm like, well, he saw it when he was a kickboxer. He saw it before he came on media. He literally gave a blueprint of, hey, I had $75,000 left to my name. I would love to have $75,000 right now. Thank you. Did he invest in any of it? No. What he did was he sent most of his money, said $10,000 to $20,000 to a casino to gamble to triple his earnings. He lost it.
Right.
Then he tried to go into real estate in Thailand. Flopped. So now what's his next thing? Hey, let me go to the webcam and get women and trick them and pimp them out, so to speak. So, and here we are now. That was his way of becoming successful. From that way, not let me be a Jedi Mike and go to school, go to college and do, if you are or not, serve the Lord. And yeah, exactly. and do everything the right way. Don't let me be a male code truth and like, hey, let me vet properly, have conversations. Let me have boundaries. Whoa, let me have boundaries and have those conversations and I get it. Real conversations is scary, right? Especially if you feel a little certain way, especially if you like a person. But if we're coming into relationships, whether your homeboys, your teachers, your friends or families or a girl, hey, you got to take that leap of faith. Hey, let me try this. Now, if that one person, let's say for Cookie, very attractive woman, hey, Cookie, would like going to? And she says, no, okay, I'm not going to bastardize every woman because Cookie said no. It might have been, hey, she might have been had a bad day. Family member might pass away. She might be just trying to get to work. She don't got time to talk right now to give you a number. It's just one of those moments. So you got to learn how to take that kind of L and move on. Welcome to life. Welcome to life.
Gotta learn how to take those L's. I did some research while y'all were talking on this guy because I live outside of the whole YouTube thing, and I was looking at Andrew Tate. It's like he has this monster truck commercial voice, and it's like all of his like quote message. You know how you post? They're like Michael Bay movie directions. They're driving fast cars and getting on and off a private jet. I'm like, who is? Education is real. That's all I'm going to say. You've got to be smarter. Like, you can't just follow somebody blindly just because their posts look like a movie trailer. Like, and you think that all of that is real. One thing that I've learned with the friends that I have in like production and stuff like that is that 80% of what you see on the internet is completely fake when it comes to people's pages. That's why I try to be as truthful as possible. Like, we don't know if those are his cars. We don't know if that's his jet. Like, somebody told me the other day that there's sound stages where people can like stage stuff. Like, come on, people.
We have the confirmation now. They are his cars because they just seized all of them this morning.
Oh, my God.
But yeah,
not his cars anymore.
But even then, if you actually see like like the YouTube gurus or people talking about Amazon shipping or like, hey, listen, now I made $100,000 a month and haven't posted a single video or something like that, right? And yet they show like wads of cash. That cash isn't real. They actually paid for that stack of cash, and someone actually, you can find on YouTube that the dollar bill it's like counterfeit and everything, but it looks like stacks, right? So it's like, listen, this is just me. This is my rent and everything I gave. I'm living in this Malibu apartment with no furniture, like So yeah, it just kind of selling that fantasy and illusion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
What kind of mind does it take to be like, like that's childish to me. Like that's a child mind.
but it targets young adults because we're
I get
desperate.
it, but
Yeah.
commercials have been doing that to us.
For real.
Politicians and movies,
I had
like,
3 or 4
literally
Barbies
every
in the house,
category
so
they
I
use
guess.
manipulation on humans
Well, I blame the
everywhere
millennials
that they
actually.
can.
I blame my generation. And the reason why I blame old millennials is because we're the ones who did it. We had an opportunity, right? A unique opportunity that no other generation had, where basically we're there at the start of social media. And so we could have chosen to go into this social media thing, our MySpace pages, our Black Planet pages, our Facebook pages, and just been honest, right? Not made it about competing, not made it about whatever, not made it about who can have the most airbrush, most Photoshop pictures, right? After us, again, same generation, went through this whole entire little battle while we were children, fighting against the media airbrushing everything and getting rid of cellulite and getting rid of this and that, and let's talk about Dove and real women and da 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 da. Right? We had the opportunity to keep that going because that's what was really big at that time. And what we chose to do instead is to make ourselves better than all of our counterparts, right? Well, this girl was so popular in high school and I always hated her, so I have to have a better life than her. So, even though me and my husband are about to divorce, I'm going to paint it like we're the happiest people in the world. And even though I hate my kids, I'm going to paint it like we're the happiest kids in the world. And even though now I'm a size 18, well, I'm going to Photoshop me down to size 2, right? And that's what everyone just did. And I watched my own friends do this and went like, that's not your life. Like, why?
Yeah, that's tragic.
Glamour shots gone wild is what it is. You guys
Yeah.
remember glamour shots?
It's still going on now.
It's crazy because
I still get triggered.
glamour shot.
No
Oh, I
one's
still
real.
got glamour shot.
Yeah.
I still get triggered by it.
But it
I
used
see.
to be something you had to go to the mall, you had to, go through all this whole process to be glamour shotted. Now it's just an app on your phone. It's just like, shucks, people.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've never done like dating apps. Like I've never done that, but like I see all these people and they put this picture of themselves that is so unrealistic on their dating profile, right? What is the sense in that? Why would you not put a mediocre picture of yourself that is more representative of who you are when you get dressed up or when you're just like chilling in your PJs? That way whoever is attracted to you is actually attracted to you because eventually you're going to want to show up in real life, right?
Correct.
Right.
This is mainly a women
What
doing
is
this
that?
thing.
Men do it too. I've seen
Men do it too, Wes. Men do it too.
Men do it too. It's called catfishing in America.
I call it entrapment, but yes.
Men doing it now is like,
Look, this is what they do.
uptick.
What women will post pictures they took like 5 to 8 years ago. Then you show up and they're they took a picture that was 80 pounds ago.
Exactly.
And then
or they're in the gym,
then
working
they blame it
out.
on the men for not being attracted. Like, well, this is who I am. No, it's not. No, it's
Wes,
not.
you forgot too. This kills me. The body shot up to here. The body shot to here.
That's always a dead giveaway.
Dead giveaway.
Giveaway.
Dead giveaway.
Especially when they do this.
Exactly.
The higher up that angle is, right? I know what you say.
That's what selfie sticks are for,
Mm-hmm.
Like, girl, did you get a drone to take that picture?
I'm angry boy.
My brother, oh my gosh, he decided to get on. I'm like, he's 40, so I was like trying to talk him into it. I'm like, no one's just gonna walk into your garage like your ex-wife did, like I brought her over, so he he got on one and I was like, let me see it. He took a picture of himself like this, like down here. It's just straight up his nose. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, what? I'm like, you don't need to like fake it and like try to make yourself look like you're something that you're not, but come on, like,
right. Put a little heart into it, my guy. That's funny.
It was actually a woman on she promoted it went viral between TikTok and YouTube where she actually showed the actual her like, hey, I'm 6 I think she said she was like 6'2". She was overweight. She showed everything. Like, hey, here's my little sagging arms, and I got weight. She showed the whole full body picture. Cause I know a lot of us got like, look, if you showing like this, I need to see the full frame. You know, that's most how guys think. So she showed from head to toe. A guy still invited her out, still had the conversation with her. He knew what she looked like from head to toe, no filter or nothing. And when he actually had the date, she seemed like a cool person. He had shunned her, like, no, you're not what I thought. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, because you look one way. It's like, no, I showed you authentic me, and you still have a problem. So I think it's a problem up the dome, you know, to some degree. But I won't use her as an example to say, hey, it's everybody. But I do agree with you, Mel, on one part. Like, if you're taking that route, try to be as close to authentic yourself, but obviously don't have the camera up your nose hairs because that's not going to attract you into some sense. You know, I've been on both ends of this fence. I had I never did what was it, Bumble's call? I never did the Bumble. I did the I forgot the swiping app. I did the POF. I did other dating apps. It was fine for the most part, but again, it's same thing like in real life. You still have to filter out people. Then once you go for it, but for me, it's my experience. You have the angles and stuff. Like, okay, then most of them have like the long paragraph, which is fine. But a lot of guys get lazy. They don't want to read it. That was the experience I have. And a lot of women like, oh, they don't read the profile. They just want to look at the picture and click on it and have the. It's okay, cool. Then you have to go through the interview process with both parties. After you read the paragraph, have the conversation, and somebody got to be trusty enough to give the phone number, because right now in this day and age, giving each other actual phone numbers is personal. Personal. So people, even on the guy's side, because I'm a protect the guys in this one too. Giving out your personal phone number is personal. It's a reason that a lot of people just don't give it out to be giving it out. All right. So once you do all that, now it's like a whole, let's get the dates. If we meet each other, go to the public place and all that stuff. Again, it's part of the process, guys. But if you go some route like what Pearly things is screaming and yelling, what Andrew Tate is screaming and yelling, ain't no way in hell I'm going to get a Bugatti. I don't even want a Bugatti. I don't want no type of car. I'm too plain Jane for everybody. So if you have to find that type of person that's attracted to you because of a luxury car, clearly that person's not it for you. They're not thinking of your best interest at all. Not at all. I've been promoting broke and busy for the longest. Hey, come at me if you will. My bar's set so low, it is what it is at that point. It is what it is.
But see, that's the problem though, right? Because then you have other messaging. So now you get like, because people are really anti-black pill, not realizing that there's worse, like or anti-red pill, but like black pill. Specifically, when you start getting into like the maxing sector of black pill, that's where we start getting really bad. Because if you think about it, red pill at least tells you, okay, be aware of reality, but you can work within that system to be successful, right? Like black pill tells you that there's no such thing, really. Like, you can't change reality. If you were just too short, then women are just not choosing you. If you are just too this, then, women are not choosing, so on and so forth. So then what ends up happening is that makes those people, because now they're watching never ending messages telling them that they're doomed to be alone and to never be seen as masculine, to never be successful.
Wait, that's a thing?
It is a thing. Now I'm going to tell you how that becomes worse, because we covered it on our show a few weeks ago. It's called transmaxing. So transmaxing is a thing where basically they say, hey, listen, you're short and you have feminine features and little feminine hands, and women are never going to choose you. But if you want to be successful in the world, if you want to ever lose your virginity, you can do it. You just have to become a woman. And they're sending this message to straight men. These are not
now
men
look who just took us down the rabbit hole.
I know, but these are not trans. These are not trans women, right? Like men who think that oh, I identify as a woman. Or no, these are men who identify as men, who see themselves as men, who are attracted to women. Okay, and they are that vulnerable as human beings. These are normally neurodivergent type people, right? But they're being taken advantage of by other incels who can't get any, right? So now they're going to manipulate these guys into dressing up like women and taking sexy pictures. Now they have that as like a weapon to use. Now, some of the guys keep going and they'll go on HRT, right? Hormone replacement therapy and the whole nine. But some of them get, they find these kind of cults by accident. And they get brainwashed into it. And then now they took the pictures, they regret it. And people say, sorry, if you don't go on the hormones, start growing some boobs for me, I'm going to send this to your friends, to your family, to your this, to your that. And so they're basically forcing these guys to transition so that way they can have access to women because they can't get access to biologically born women because they're incels and they've been told that there's nothing they can do to change that inceldom. Like this really happens, right? So like that's another type of YouTube daddy now, right? That's another type of YouTube deity that is sitting there. And we talked to one a few weeks ago. Their name is Tina, okay? And Tina says, right? I'm going to say Lamato. This is really hard to call him Tina. But Lamato like is like super excited. Lost their virginity already. I mean, sure, it was with another transmaxer, but it doesn't matter because they're not a virgin anymore, and they say they have so many benefits and da 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 da. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous to listen to this person, right? But they like, and they started transitioning like within a couple days of finding the transvaxing Discord. Right?
Is it
And
not a
they're so
crime of
thankful
some
to these
sort?
people.
Are we not concerned about this? Like,
I
what?
just
People desperate for connection.
Desperate.
That's the part.
Yes.
That's the part.
That's what I
Okay.
was talking about earlier. That's
Wow.
mental illness. That's
No,
a
that
health.
is.
But also abuse of the term of incel.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. And you know what? Here's the thing, though. They call themselves trans, and I'm like, well, I don't think you qualify as trans. Sorry. They are going to come back. We are going to interview them, and like, there's 2 of them that are going to be coming. We're going to interview them because it's crazy because they don't see that they've been manipulated, right? And they don't see that because they're so putting all of their trust, right, and all of their
Okay.
belief on these people who are telling them, no, listen, I care about you. I want you to be successful. I'm like, listen, dude. Let's be fair here. You are short and feminine enough that you could be successful as a woman. If you try to improve yourself as a man, I swear to God, Lamato said this to me. If you try to improve yourself as a man and you start being able to sleep with women, well, now you're taking away women from other guys who aren't feminine looking enough to be able to transition to women. So are you that selfish? Because if you're that selfish, you want to take away women from other desperate guys, or do you want to become the woman and become part of the solution? I swear to God, this is what we're told. I'm not even kidding.
That is horrible.
Rebuke it all, Jedi. Rebuke it all.
That's real.
I know.
It is.
No, it's so real. It is so
Yeah,
real.
I saw her live stream. It's
You
real.
saw it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. It's real.
Oh, real.
They weren't even planning it. Lamato was just
Oh
in a clip
my
of the transcription I was
God.
playing, and then Lamato and this other person, Kat, the vat, showed up in my chat, and we said, "Okay, come on up." It was, yeah, it's
He
real.
would have went down
was
this
that some
road.
holy water, Jedi Mike?
He got it all. He got it all.
This
Oh
not.
no.
My problem is with all this is like, what happened to the part of I'm enough. I love me. I respect me enough. I have enough self-respect for myself to like, hey, and I'll use me a Jedi for example. You know, he got the beard. He'd always get compliments for the beard. I don't got no beard. You know, like I said, I've been ugly from day one. Shout out to me at birth, right? But I'm still okay.
Let's call it
You're
puggish
not
for books.
ugly.
You're not
You're not
at all.
ugly.
And
You're
I
not,
still
you're
have
not
a
ugly,
beard,
but
too. I
I'll
still
give you
have
some.
a
I'll give
beard.
you some black people trade.
Let me out. Let me out. I want out.
Jamaican castor oil. Okay, make sure you also lather, have conditioner too. Have a beard comb, a wooden one, so you can keep the essential oils. And also, don't pick your beard. Don't stop touching your face, y'all. People just like to pick, and also that's why you get a scratch.
This is why I can't get no beard. I can't get no beard.
Also, get yourself some liner too.
That's facts. Mr. Rubes has one of those wooden beard combs. I thought he was crazy, but
No, I got
you're
one.
saying that's a real
over here
thing?
too. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Again, so what happened to just you being enough for you? Like, what happened to that? And then I will even say this because
bastardized.
That's frowned upon as well. Having confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
It's very much frowned upon because I love me. I was raised in that family. I had a mom, a dad, and I was a little princess, and I was told I was beautiful every day my whole life. So nobody can tell me about me. You know what I mean? Like, I love me. I love everything about me.
I agree with that. That's the type of support you're supposed to have. Because I even with it was a debate me and somebody supposed to have. It was 1-on-1, 2-2, but the conversation came about just people going out their way to virtually harm you or virtually smear your characters, and so to speak. But
Yeah.
I found it funny because I'm like, like you, let's say if I talk about you right now the most harmful way, as soon as you hit this button, or better yet, you don't have to stay for that insult, right? You can just eject your butt. You got that family support, family dynamic. Even with myself, I'm still good. I have friends that call me from long distance. We talk and chop it up. For quote unquote video game, the gamer family, you already know how that goes.
Yeah.
We'll chop it up and shoot the quote unquote shit. My older sister, she's into the church, all this other good positive stuff. She's long-winded, but she's always come with love and support. Like, hey, sometimes she randomly just called me like, hey, just wanted to tell you I love you. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. Versus those other people, like, I don't think they get that type of support. I think they run to try to, but they don't find it. So I think their only support of positive is like within those toxic spaces, and then they got these little cliques and these negative black bubbles, and like, okay, well, you're gonna scream screw West, okay, I'm gonna scream screw West too. And it's like, okay, well, I didn't like West's collar because it bit that way. Well, you know what, I didn't like West neither because he had the wall up this way. So now they trauma bonding to people, and now they're trying to find little things to add up to build West up in a negative way. One hated the shirt, one hated the wall, one hated his hair, the other one hated the arm. It's like, okay, you know what?
But obviously none of them were racist, though.
Apparently not.
It's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type stuff. Like, what? And we're on the internet. I actually sat on a panel with some red pill guys, and because I liked myself and we were comparing ourselves to cars, and I said I was a Lambo, they got mad at me because I was like, I'm 41 and I'm not married, and they went all off on me, went on my Instagram, and I was like, but I still like me though. You know what I mean? And they were like, well, it isn't up to you to be liked. It's up to the man that wants to be with you if he likes you or not. And I'm like, but it doesn't matter. I'm still going to like me, whether I get rejected
41?
or not.
41, like 4'1"?
She looked good for her age.
I would have bet
for
any money you were younger than me by like a bit. Like I thought, like, yeah, I wouldn't even have put you in your 30s.
Well, thank you. You. It's the coconut water and raspberry. I don't take anything seriously. Like I watch Family Guy regularly. I play video games, and I stay true to myself. And I think that is what has kept me healthy and young looking. But I was like, I'm not, even if a guy's like, you're not it. Okay, you're taking the L, my guy. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, because somebody said I wasn't a Lambo and I called myself a Lambo. Are we really having this conversation? Is what I'm thinking in my head. I'm so evolved past certain things that are being talked about that this is like refreshing. Like, because some panels that I'm on, I'm just like, what is going on?
All right, 1 second. Jedi Mike had to step out, so we're gonna let him get his thoughts out before he leaves. So I appreciate you, Jedi Mike, coming in. And definitely, man, promote your channel, bro, because I be over there and I love the stuff. So that's the Agala. Where my game is trying to get up, I might be over there more than usual. So I appreciate you for doing what you're doing, man. So keep it up.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I just been called to by my fiance, but anyway. Yeah, guys, named Jedi Mike 7. I'm a movie critic. I review movies and shows and everything. I just crossed 500 subscribers yesterday, so going good on there. So I appreciate everyone supporting that. Thanks for Grey Pill for having me. You can find me here or my account here at Jedi Mike 7 on YouTube and Instagram as well. All right, peace, y'all. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Jedi Mike 7.
Nice to see you again, Jedi Mike.
Yeah, you too. You too.
Yeah, he did a spoiler on the last movie, and I was like, I'll just hit the like, mute the volume, and then hit the comment, and I'll exit out.
Somebody's trash talking him in the chat. He didn't respond.
It'll be okay. Which I'm glad he mentioned something that I just thought about the fun versus subscribers bit. So if anybody's, most of us here, content creators, or some in the on the replay and in the chat, they're going too soon. They're going to dumb down the monetization so you can become monetized. So it's going to be 500 subscribers plus I think 2 or 3 video uploads and something else with it. So they brought down the bar. All right, which for me, for the ones that worked hard for it, it sucked. Because even I remember when you had 500 subscribers, you opened up the community tabs. That was a big deal. Me and another content creator pretty much vented about that one. The 1,000 subscribers, when you depending on the type of content you do, that's still a grind. So it is what it is. So I think YouTube is being a little bit saturated. So they're trying to find people to get up there to get their money. So yeah.
YouTube is dying.
You know what it is? Because okay, so with the community tab, they gave us a community tab. Like we didn't try to apply for our community tab or anything like that. Right, but it's not just oh well, who cares? Anyway, you have to be approved for those advanced features, which involves the whole reason why they were not allowing people to have a community tab, because if you guys remember way back in the days, everyone had one. And then they pulled it back. So that had a lot to do with, people not having confirmed accounts, and then they were using the accounts for things they shouldn't be using the accounts for, and da. So it was kind of okay, well, if you can get the advanced features because you have a confirmed account, we've been able to take your face shot and confirm who you are, and da, then fine, we'll let you have a community tab. Right. But when it comes to the other thing, the 500 subscribers and whatever, they've lowered your ability to get monetization. But that being said, it's not full monetization. You're still not fully monetized until you reach the full benchmark. So it's not okay, people are going to benefit a little bit earlier, but it's not we're going to get, if we get to 500 subscribers and 3,000 views, okay, or 3,000 watch hours, well, then we get the same benefits that the people who had to wait till they got the 1,000 and 4,000. No, we're still not going to be fully in there. So it's not
you're not going to get the
entirely lost.
0.02 cents per view.
Right, it's going to be trash monetization. So it's basically just allowing us, I think, to be able to get super chats, because what they realized, which I'm surprised it took them this long to realize it, is that if you don't allow people to be monetized and to use super chats, then they're just going to use other things like Cash App. Right. And then that bypasses YouTube altogether. YouTube makes no money. And then when people can be monetized, they don't turn on the monetization because they're already making way more than YouTube's going to give them. So they're trying to make you
That's a good point.
Get in there so at least they get some of the money. Right. That's really what it is.
They don't want them going straight to Cash App. That would just
exactly.
Or Venmo.
This is totally off topic.
Sure. Go ahead, Mel.
Or I'll be the news. You said you had a degree in evolutional psychology.
No, so it's psychology, neuroscience, and behavior, right? But my specialization is in evolutionary psychology. So it's one of them. But yeah.
My daughter, she's getting ready. She's trying to hone in on what she wants to do next semester at her first year at college. So that's an interesting one.
That sounds so fancy. I love it though.
I love anything psychology.
I love psychology, right? The psychology, neuroscience, and behavior. The reason why I chose the degree program I did, it's actually a research-based program, right? So it's not a practicing program. And I wanted to do this first because I wanted to have a really deep understanding of human behavior and human psychology, and why do we even treat things the way that we do? Right? Why are we using these medications? Why are we defining these things? I really wanted to understand. I didn't want to just kind of be given the overview and then, okay, let's learn the DSM-5 now. I didn't want to do that. So I think that's why I went this route. And I loved it so much. I'm the idea of leaving this research field, I don't really want to practice anymore unless I'm going to be able to practice on sociopaths. But the reason why is because psychology is so many things. People don't even realize, your vision, people who work with vision or hearing, that's psychology. People who write the LSATs, the MCATs, whatever, that's psychology. The IQ testing, that's psychology. People don't even realize how much psychology really is. All of our 5 senses, our ability to balance, and the people who study that and fix balance issues, that's psychology, right? So there's so many areas of psychology. People think of psychology as oh, you just sit on a couch and listen to people's problems and that's about it. And it's No, that's not. That's
Wow.
barely scratching the surface of what psychologists can be and what they can do, right? So,
Have you ever
Which
looked into that neuroscientist that figured out through a study that he was a psychopath?
that he was?
Yeah.
that's funny. No, wait,
Oh,
what?
so you can find it on YouTube. I can't remember the
I'm gonna have
dude's
to look
name,
for
but
it.
he's a neuroscientist who was doing like research on serial killers or to try to find like that killer gene or that killer like space in the brain.
Oh yeah,
Not
that's
gene, but so he had just had like he had his own MRI or whatever. I think it was like a contrast MRI. And then he had like other family members, and then there were serial killers. So it's this little blind study. And he didn't realize that he had like his was mixed in with it, but that's how he found out that he was a psychopath, was
Interesting.
through him adding himself and like other, which I was like, that seems kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to study based on like a whole like family, but it's interesting. You should look it up. Like
That's
it's
really interesting. I like that.
I do the serial killer thing. So that's like where I come from, was like my aunt was murdered when I was little. My friend was murdered. And so it's always, since I've just very young, I've always wanted to understand the human mind of like what makes someone choose A, B, C, and D versus, you know, anything else. Like, why are they the way they are? And just, but so that guy was something that I had found a long time ago, and I don't remember his name, but it's pretty interesting. But he's a totally functioning psychopath, and that's what we think is like, oh, psychopaths are just serial killers or like these degenerate criminals. No,
the majority are not, actually. Majority
No,
are
they're
very
not.
successful in business and in other arenas, because the whole point of,
politicians.
from an evolutionary standpoint, now, see, this is one of those things. From an evolutionary standpoint, being a sociopath or psychopath, right, is only advantageous if you are not discovered by the group, right? Because, for example, like you think about those little games that people do, right? Like the prisoner's dilemma and stuff like that, right? Or games where you have to trust the other person not to cheat and whatever.
Yeah.
Well, so a sociopath's going to cheat every time. They're always going to bank on your good nature, and they don't care about you, right?
Right.
But that's only beneficial as long as people don't know you're a sociopath. As soon as they know
Yeah.
that you don't care, they're going to stop giving you that benefit. So it's in their best interest to not be detected, right? So that way they can keep functioning without empathy, without a conscience, in essence, and you will keep treating them like they have one. And so that's why most sociopaths are not detectable, because they've been practicing their entire lives how to do feelings, right? To emote at you, right, the right way. So it's really something. And for me, I've always envied them, looked up to sociopaths. I know it sounds like messed up, but in Girl Interrupted, like when Angelina Jolie is a sociopath, and they're like, oh, she thinks she's hot shit because she's a sociopath. I'm like, I thought she was. I found out later I am actually autistic. I didn't know that at the time. But sociopaths have this ease with social interaction, with just knowing how to read people and to know what to do, and it was like there's so much about them that I wanted to not care. I wanted all these things because it's like I was so the polar opposite of that almost. So I think I've always kind of idolized sociopaths, and not like the killing part of them, but like the rest of them.
just to understand the part
until you get deeper, and you're just like, God, you know, not to be able to connect with another human on an empathetic level.
Yeah,
that's devastating. You know, like really, like if you really think about it.
Well, you know, but it would be devastating because we care, right? It's not devastating to them because they don't care. So it's kind of like 3-year-olds, right? You think about it this way, right? Because we actually teach children empathy. We teach people sympathy. We teach people tribalism. We're teaching people a lot of things, right? There's some things that we would kind of do on our own without it being modeled, but empathy is not one of them. This is why you have to teach kids that if they hit another kid in the face, that hurts and it's mean and they should say sorry, right? But if no one teaches you that, then how would you know? Right. And that's in essence the thing. They're kind of like 3-year-olds perpetually, right? So they don't care if they punch you in the face and you cry and you don't want to be their friend. They don't care about you. They're really happy with their own toys and their own life. And it's fine.
They don't miss what they don't have.
Yeah, they don't have that thing because no one conditioned them to have that thing the way we were conditioned to have that thing that makes us need the other kid to like us. And that's the way that smile feels when, someone smiles at you and they like you, or when someone offers, hey, you can play with my toy too, or you know what I mean, all those little things that mean something to us, it means nothing to them.
Mhm.
So they don't care if they never get group acceptance. They like to be successful, they like to win, but that doesn't require group acceptance, right? To be
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
be a
Nope.
multi-billionaire, you don't need any group acceptance at all. In fact, the more that you care about group acceptance, the less likely you are to be successful in business, right? So
True.
Okay, so wouldn't that help peg somebody out that like you can kind of, it depends on the social settings that type of person is, because I was just slowly going down the trail of what is a narcissist and a trait. So I think like tomorrow I did say tomorrow morning, I think around 11, I'm going to talk about the energy vampire and a little bit breaking apart the flying monkeys, because there's a therapist that talks about this a lot, and she said that I probably lose my thought. She said it was a scary thing. Like you said, that type of person practiced it. She said sometimes she's actually think twice about actually doing content, because when a narcissist understands that they are one, and then they learn how to be more better, efficient to navigate through the trials, it's like they're unstoppable.
Yeah. There's a YouTube grifter that like he comes right out, I'm a narcissistic psychopath. It's a known thing. I've been diagnosed. And he gives private paid for sessions mainly with women so that they can understand. I don't know. But I don't understand what the purpose of this guy is, but he's basically, his grift is on the fact that he is a narcissistic, so like psychopath. So he's going to be able to give you the truth of what you need to hear when you tell him all your problems.
Oh.
Well, see, and that's the thing. A lot of people, there can be overlap with cluster B personality disorders, because these are both in cluster B. The thing is, though, is there tends not to be in the way that people are thinking about it, right? So you would have to already concurrently have both of these disorders in order for you, like a narcissist is not going to be able to just learn how to become a sociopath, right? And narcissists actually have, for all of that, they're super obsessed with themselves, right? And they don't care about other people, and they need you to constantly be feeding their ego. It's because they actually have very, very low levels of self-esteem, and they're very reliant on other people, at least one source, right? To constantly be flattering their ego.
Flying
Right?
monkey.
Exactly, right? That's very different than a sociopath. A sociopath doesn't actually need any of that. They don't care what you think.
No
about them
validation at all.
No.
Zero.
So there
right?
again, it's probably maybe a lie. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, I'm thinking it's a lie, but this is a narcissist, and
But this dude
narcissists.
is like completely, it's crap. It's absolute crap. And he has taken someone that I know for a ton of money.
Yep.
And you can't talk her out of it.
Okay, so let's use a relationship, right? For example, and we'll kind of spin back on. Pretty much, we're still on the same trail. Spin back on Andrew Tate, for example, right? Let's just say that person is married to Andrew Tate, and Andrew Tate is like telling you or showing you this is who I am, but you still decide to stay with that type of narcissistic behavior. What does that say about that person?
So, okay. So, for example, right, there are
because I know married couples that just say my husband or my wife does this. No, the kids is grown. There's no reason for them to stay, but they still decide to stay with that person. Because I'm confused with that. If you know this person is verbally abusing you and doing everything else, and you always have all these complaints, you don't even sleep in the same bed, why stay with this person?
That's Stockholm syndrome, isn't it?
Well, see, if you have all like the complaints, right, you might have, for example, you might have a personality disorder that is fed by that personality disorder. That's why you see a lot of people who are in toxic relationships, and they're kind of reliant, right? So someone who, for example, has a dependent personality disorder, where they're very dependent on someone else giving them an identity. They don't really have one of their own, right? So they need someone to tell them constantly who they are, what they believe, what they think, they are so insecure as an individual, they'll never be an individual. They would rather be in the worst possible relationship than be in alone for a second, right? Well, that kind of person is going to be really well fed by someone who's, say, a narcissist, right? Because a narcissist constantly needs somebody also, right? And so the dependent personality, this other person, they're down here. They don't want any positive, as much as you would think that they do want positive. No, they want to give someone else positive reinforcement, right? They want to, as long as that person doesn't abandon them, they will do anything. Right. And so
Wow.
in a way, it's a success for them to be able to keep that person around because they also have low self-esteem and don't think they're good enough. And then over here, you've got the narcissist who, again, wants to be able to step all over you, treat you like trash, and for you to not leave because they need your constant, never-ending source of you're so wonderful, you're so great, you're so much better than everyone else. And they don't want to spend any time fulfilling you. Right. So a lot of times that's what you'll see. You'll see people who complain about things that they're not really complaining about. Like they're complaining about it because they like to complain. But the reality is they need that type of toxicity in their lives for their other dark things to be fulfilled. And so without some type of therapy and a lot of therapy, a lot of these people are never going to get better. So even if that narcissist died, they just go find another one. Do you know what I mean? Because they need it.
Tragedy.
Wow. So I guess they have to realize within themselves, like, this is not right. So it's like a drug addiction. I need to just get away. I got to realize this is not good. But sometimes I hear people say, I know it's not good, but they'll still stay in it, which is weird. That's the part I just don't get. I know this person is harming me in a certain type of way, but yet I'm going to still stay with them. Why?
Because the harm is fulfilling something else, right? So if you were born and raised, let's say, and in the family that you were raised in, there was a lot of abuse, right? Toxicity and abuse. Well, then you learn that that's what love means, right? So a lot of people, when they say like a normal relationship is boring for them, they mean it's boring, but they also mean that there's no overt signs of love to them, right? Because love would be, if someone loves you, they'll beat you. If someone loves you, they're going to go woo and treat you like crap and because they're so emotionally attached to you that they can't help but behave that way. And then there's the wild, crazy makeup sex too, and right? So a lot of people learn these things as they're growing up. And, you know, until again, they go to therapy and they break it down and work through it. Normal's never going to be good enough.
I know so many people like that. They don't want to be. I have a friend. She's in the best situations. I loves her to death, and she was like, "Oh my God, he's boring. I want somebody that like drinks Hennessy and da da." I was like, "Girl, are you serious?"
That's sad.
Are you telling me like he's too much of a square? I was like, so what? Okay, let's unpack because that's saying a lot about you, my dear.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. Or I knew someone who would literally only date people who would drink, so that way she could get them drunk, and then push and push and push and push and push until the guy would hit her. So that way, and she would keep doing it until he would hit her. So that way she could then cry about being hit. Right. This is what she liked to do in her private time. And then she'd call people and say how scared she was and and then one day what happened is she didn't realize we were already coming over and we caught her doing it. And we went, oh my God, she's inciting this on purpose. And so she needed us to come and make her, it's basically almost like Munchausen syndrome, because she needed us to, so you poor thing, you deserve better than this. You don't that. She needed him to be in the doghouse so that way she could treat him like crap for a while, and he would have to be making it up to her because he hit her, right? And he's going to be afraid too because he was here kind of on a visitor's visa because she brought him here after marrying him from the Dominican. It was a whole bunch, and what we realized is no, she needs that level of control because she sees herself as very little. And very, when I say little, I mean like irrelevant. And she didn't think that there's any other way she could get a man to like stay with her, be with her, marry her, give her kids, So this is, it's something. And she had parents who were married, they're loving, they were whatever.
Are you drinking right now, Cookie?
Witnesses. Jehovah's, it's amazing how much religion can mess up.
It's an electrolyte drink. I'm not drinking.
I am.
I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I like Mel.
You married Mel. You good, Mel. You married. You got the whole shebang. You good. But see, that's why I don't know. This is why like you just gotta question everything. Like if it's a red flag, question it. If there's a bell ringing, let's have a conversation. I don't know. Some people just decide to just get stuck on something. They're like, okay, well, let me 99% of this is good, but then there's that 1% that's bad is pretty much like can end your life, have you in a mental hospital or something. And they'll let all that slide just because, well, he or she got me a house. Well, Andrew Tate is telling me the world is what it is, so I got to follow this person. So I'm okay with it, but yet still you're taking advice from the worstest type of people. Then you come into the real world after you left the virtual world, and then now life has hit you in the face. You're like, I don't understand. Maybe I need some more Tate. Maybe I need some more Pearly things.
Right.
Maybe not get it. But if you pay for that membership, I can give you more advice.
Yes.
Get that Patreon. I give you more advice.
Scamming at an all-time high, man.
That's probably why the Pearly things, like she's been able to capitalize on this swing in, I don't know what you would call it. I don't want to say feminism, but like just a different type of woman, more of an old school woman, like because we've gone so far the other way to where it's just all like fake, like Insta, apps and just this like glorified your figure that's definitely going to go away, like this superficial type women that we're seeing, this thing that's coming out. And the same with like incels, and the same way that Andrew Tate is able to is because there was this huge shift from like, I don't know, this is probably something I should ask you about, Ruby, of like in the baby boomers and back, it was an age of like a society of like suppression. Suppress your feelings, keep them all locked in. Don't let them out. Don't let anyone know. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. Don't talk about anything. Like, don't talk about how you feel. Don't talk about how you look. Like, nothing is allowed. To this overcorrection of like society that is all feel. It's just like whatever you feel in whatever moment, that's what you grab onto, and that's what everyone should support. And it's just like, I don't know.
So
it's somewhere in the middle.
Hey, so Mel, with that being said, so is evil necessary in social media?
Well, yeah. What? You said evil?
Yeah, is evil necessary in social media?
Evil.
I mean,
there was a movie called Vampire in Brooklyn.
I remember that, yeah.
That said evil is good.
A lot of people do think they can't see the light without the dark. But I don't know. My daddy always taught me to just like, he would always ask whenever I said, he's like, why are you going to stand on that?
Yeah.
Why are you going to stand on that? No matter, like, and it got annoying, because it's like, gosh, let me just like say something out loud, like, let me just speak. But that, but it taught me, like, that's what I would like to ask a lot of these people that blindly follow whomever it is, but the topics were the three that you had suggested tonight. And it's just like, why are you going to stand on them? Why are you going to bank your reputation, your success, your self, the way you feel about yourself based on this person? Like, why are you going to stand on him? Like, what is he really?
And if they assault you, they don't have the answer. That's literally what happens. If they don't have a genuine answer or response to it, or they'll just blurt out, well, they're speaking facts, they're dropping gems, then you don't have an answer.
Yeah.
See, then you have people like me who I actually believe in pure red pill ideology. And, if you were to, my thinking, my belief system is pretty well aligned with pure trad wifeism, shall we say, right? So now that might not seem like it depending on some of the viewpoints I express or whatever, right? But no, generally I'm very traditionalist, and I believe in pure red pill ideology. So I don't believe in individuals, right? But when you look at the actual ideology, I do believe in it. When you look at the issues that it was calling out from the beginning, when red pill was first created by
Correct.
a woman making a documentary, let's not get confused here,
Thank
and
you.
everything going after, do I agree with those things? Absolutely, right? So and do I believe, for example, a woman should submit to her husband? Absolutely. Do I believe that it's in the Bible? The Bible says so, yeah. And do I believe that the Bible says that my body belongs to my husband? Absolutely. Do I know that in the exact same verse it says that my husband's body belongs to me? Also, absolutely. So, I don't really pick and choose, things. I actually look at the overall whole thing and say, hey, traditional values, right? Going back to these Christian values and stuff is not about picking and choosing, cherry picking a few things to make women subjugated to men. That's really not what it is, right? It was literally about a time where we made choices, right? So sevens married sevens, three marries three, tens married tens. Whatever, actually, tens and nines never really got married. They belong to everyone, but generally, right? It was this thing you just recognized. I'm a 7 or I'm a 3 or I'm a 2, I'm whatever, and I'll just find someone about my level, and yeah, we get along okay-ish enough, and then you got married, right? And then you listened to the TV that said, well, hey, if you want to please your man, you got to do this. Hey, if you want to please your wife, you got to do this. And it was a simpler time. No one questioned any of this. We just did it, right? And it was okay. And then if you heard someone was getting beaten or this or that, and someone told you that it was their fault, then you kind of believed it. They must have burned dinner, and that was wrong of them. And no one questioned anything, right? Was there an issue with the not questioning anything? Yeah. Was it wrong that until 1984 it was legal to beat and grape your wife? Absolutely, very wrong, right? So I think the problem is that a lot of times we over idealize certain eras or certain people or certain situations. Like we're idealizing them, like we painted this fantasy about it, instead of looking at reality and saying, here's what was good about that time, here's what's bad about that time, here's what's good about that messaging, but here's also what's bad about that messaging. And it's like we don't have objectivity. And I think the reason why we don't is because it doesn't sell well, right? It's very hard to sell objectivity to
Yeah.
people. No one wants balance.
So
They
Sincere
want
has
fringes.
so
It's
Sincere made a point.
boring.
Yeah, so Sincere made a point. So I asked around. So we'll go at West. So being equally yoked has nothing to do with looks, though. You agree, West? Disagree? Okay.
Being equally yoked has nothing to do with looks. Is that like the first year or the fifth year?
First year, fifth year?
The verse in the Bible?
No.
I think she's speaking in general. I think she's speaking in general, though.
I mean, like in the relationship.
Yeah.
First year of the relationship or fifth year of the relationship or 10th?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. We'll say the first. We'll go with the first.
So let's roll back there. So being equally yoked in, you said in like physical appearance, and can you state it again, please?
I guess she means like just in just a general relationship. Like, hey, we get together. We're trying to, I guess, make it work, or just being a unit. I guess what she means. In
yeah.
Yeah.
So what I said was that sevens used to marry sevens, threes married threes, twos married twos. Like that's what you used to do. You used to pick in that general, and people were happier, marriages were longer, more successful. And so Sincere is saying, well, no, being evenly yoked has nothing to do with looks, though. And I disagree with that. So
I disagree too.
I think it. So
I'll challenge that. I agree.
Modern era, look, looks have always mattered because looks is always generally how you determine genetic viability. I mean, genetic and social viability. I mean, if you're with someone, and this is actually mutated over time. Like if you're with someone and they got like meth teeth, you're only looking for another meth head. Okay,
I ain't gonna lie. I've seen that.
I've started talking to girls and I see there's a lot of wrong going on over here. I'm like, all right, hey, yeah, bye. No,
hold on. But the body is fine though, Wes. So we're saying no. Oh, okay, all right.
No.
All right, continue.
Teeth are a part of it. Teeth are a part of the body. Okay. If everything else is a 10 and the teeth are a 0, she's a 0.
Okay. All right. Now, what about she's mentioning the mindset? So she's adding on to the
mindset is important. So, and this is where we've thrown everything into the wind in the modern era, and all these people, they don't know what love is. They don't know what comes hand in hand with love. You have a lot of people thinking that sex and love are the same thing, so they're out there seeking love via sex, but then they're not feeling love. They're just feeling more empty. That'd be the let's call that the Tate regime. People that are disrespecting themselves, thinking that they're on top, realizing that they're not actually getting anything. So being equally yoked, I think that's always been an important thing. We've just forgotten it. So as far as twos marrying the twos and threes marrying the threes, it's depending upon how we're trying to, like I said, if you got meth teeth, you're looking for another meth head. Ain't nobody looking for you. Nobody wants to marry a meth mouth.
Right, and like, okay, right. I'm gonna because
we can throw porn stars in there too, though, right? Yeah, we can throw porn stars in there too.
So porn has really screwed things up. So if you take a 1950s 10, she's what, a 2023 5 because nothing on her is fake.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it's really screwed up men's mind. It's screwed up women's minds as well, because you have a lot of women think be like this woman and getting all these injections, and then a young guy. There actually was a study done in Nature about like birds being attracted to other birds that like their tail feathers or they have other special features.
Peacocks,
yeah, and scientists went and put fake feathers on the back end of a bird, and these birds are like, oh, okay, well this bird has more feathers, I'm more attracted to this bird. Well, that's not much different from humans. We're like, she's got bigger jubblies, so let me hang out over here. But after a man actually plays with that for the first time, he's like, well, there's not actually a lot of fun going on here. It just feels like rocks.
I got a lot, which I find is like, we'll give the boobs, right? We'll go with that. So I'll give you that. But I find everything else you're saying from then in 1950s, 60s, 70s to au natural versus now. For me, you get passes on the boobs. Like, hey, some people have the cancers. So they feel a little insecure. So they want to feel like a natural born woman. So they'll get those. Okay, that's a pass. But now you got the nose, the lip. I didn't know there was a hand when I watched the documentary. If all y'all familiar with it, called "What Is a Woman?" I didn't know people was getting like surgeries on their hands to be looking more feminine. The butt injections, the BBLs. Now people doing this, the actual full transformation from to the man to the woman to look like. So for a lot of us men, it is very scary. So if I see, let's say, and I'll use Cookie for example because she's the single one here. If I see her with a filter, I'm questioning 50 times over: is she who she say she is as such? And then let's say if I meet her in person, she will never know I'm looking with another lens just to check. Maybe under the hood or here or whatever. So it's very scary with a man today. It is very, very scary. So
you should.
Yeah, it's very scary.
A lot of these surgeries are dangerous. And you have, I think my biggest pet peeve are piercings. A lot of women out there going to get all these random piercings on their face, thinking that it's making them more attractive. Like, look, men are looking at you. It's not because you're attractive. They can't take their eyes off of you because they're like, why are you getting all these weird piercings?
But not to you though.
What happens when you drink water and you don't have your piercing in? It just kind of
but that's a you thing, right? And this is actually exactly.
No. This is the average male. This is the average male.
Here's the thing though, right? Because it doesn't actually even matter, even if it's all but the 5% of males. Here's the thing: if she loves those face piercings, if that is part of her identity, she has a whole bunch of different belief systems around it, right? Then
because somebody told her it was a good idea.
Right, but no, because if all she needs to do is appeal to the right person, right? So we're talking about equally yoked here, right?
How long that's lasting though? How long is that going to last?
But it's not. But see, that's the thing. It's not about how long you want to wear face piercings or not. It's about the two people who see things like body modification piercings, tattoos, whatever, in a similar way, because that actually does change a lot of different types of decision making you might make along the way, right? Or when you talk about someone who, for example, is really into their looks, they're really into looking perfect all the time, right? So even though they might be a 7 or an 8, but they're obsessed with their skin being smooth and this and that and whatever, right? Well, how are they going to be fulfilled by someone who doesn't care about their skin health and their this and that? Because that affects a lot of different things you do, from how much water you drink and what kinds of foods you're going to choose to eat and da, right? Like there's a lot of different things that are attached to all these decisions we make about our looks, right? I have my hair in locks, right? These are little micro locks, and I've dated people who, you know what, they would never be okay with micro. They just wouldn't. It's not their thing, right?
All
right, hold time. No, hold time.
That's different. That's wrong.
Exactly. I'll give you. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll give you a pass on that, right? Only because coming up as a woman, that seemed like a natural thing to do. Okay, a woman is playing with her hair, doing the hair design, some like a shorter, some like a longer. That's a feminine thing to do, right? But now if you're talking about, let me get a piercing here, you're looking like Optimus Prime from the Transformers. That's something to me. When you're doing that.
Right.
To me, that's something like I'm with Wes. When we see that, we instantly think mental problem.
Right.
Something went going wrong with your mentality for you to say, let me throw screws in my nose or let me get lumps in adjust my body part to look like a human rhino.
Right.
Like that's weird.
That's how you feel about it, and you should, right?
Yeah.
Y'all should feel that way about it because that's how you feel about it. And that's the whole thing. So when you see those women, you should say, not for me, because she's not for you, right? And likewise, that woman shouldn't avoid doing that, even though it is for her, to try to get someone who she would never be able to see eye to eye when it comes to certain types of body modification or what beauty really looks like and
she's
whatever.
got all these things dangling in front of her.
Because in order for her to fulfill your need of her looking beautiful would be her having to put herself together in a way that she doesn't find beautiful, right? And so that's why she should do what she should do. Y'all should say, nope, not for me, because guess what? Even if it's only 5-10% of men, guess what?
Can you
that
imagine
5-10%
trying to
of men are
travel
going
with
to
this
love
woman? You
that,
have
and
to
that's
spend half an hour
yoked for her.
Half an hour at the friggin' half an hour for taking all her crap out of her face so she can get on an airplane. It
ain't my problem. That's was it TSA problems at that point?
Not for you, right?
I view it as a hygiene problem.
It's not for you. And for other people, though, that would be, it's an important part of their identity, and they're good with that. And that's my point. My point is about when we're talking about equally yoked, why are
somebody
looks coming into
convinced them
play
that it was
here?
a good idea when it wasn't.
No, see, that's the whole thing. To you, it wouldn't be, right? And it would have no significance. It was just a bad idea. But for people that they find a lot of significance in that, and it's really important to them, they don't agree with you. And the whole thing is, if one woman or one man believes that, hey, this type of body modification is important to me, they should find someone who's a like mind, right? They should not be trying to change themselves so that way they can hopefully attract someone in who thinks and feels completely differently than they do, right? Like, because you're not going to end up being happy with that person. You're not equally yoked. That's why you find someone who is of a like mind when it comes to these things that are important to you, including
shout out.
What's beautiful really is.
So
okay, hold on.
How
so
often?
shout out. Hold on. So shout out to Tyson Hook. He said, but the guys that are into piercings and tattoos themselves will have a totally different view of her.
See,
exactly. That's
the
point.
segue.
They're going to think she's beautiful. Exactly. And that's who she should be attracting.
So we're not talking about tattoos. Tattoos and piercings, they're not in the same box. They
Some
overlap
people put them in the same box.
But they overlap, but they're not in the same box. Okay.
To you. That's my point.
Okay. But this guy brought in a good segue, so let's go because I was already gonna go on this. When you're walking down the street, how often do you see men with all this metal in their face versus all these women with all this metal in their face?
About equally.
Really? Is that a thing?
Yeah, well, that's because I notice men more than I probably do because I'm attracted to men. Do you see how that works? So I would care more about.
I notice a lot,
but obviously you're noticing women 50% of the time, so maybe you're not exactly there. So, but anyway,
what?
I got you, Ruby.
No, see, the thing is, women notice other women because we're always in competition with women based on looks, but we notice men because we're attracted to them. So overall,
I'm glad you've never tried
women's
competition.
That's why
you look great as you are.
Women's minds look at like the micro. So therefore, women are more likely to be able to notice the looks of everybody. Men tend to notice the looks of women. Let's be real, right? Like that's what it is. So it just makes more sense.
From what I've seen, it's far more common for women to have all these facial piercings as opposed to men. So men are not as interested in it. But
No.
when you see these couples that are actually into all these facial piercings, do they ever just like get connected and can't, does it ever get awkward?
Now,
Definitely.
now you're exaggerating.
I've seen
You
it
know,
on
this is like something
Okay.
that
Anatomy
we try to
episode.
modernize piercings, but they go back to like Aborigines. If you think about
Correct.
tribes, and I
Mhm.
just recently watched a documentary on like the last, I say that like that, with a cannibal tribe, and I was like, for the cannibal part, like the part that was interesting was their mating rituals and like how they attract each other and the things that they do, and it was just, but piercings was a big part of it. And they go through this whole, like, it's a family type thing, and it's all about like, attracting a man in within their tribe, and the men fight with sticks. Like women jewel themselves up and men fight with sticks. Like this is like the basics of attraction. I don't know. But I
I'm
get
so
what you're saying. Like I would not, bull rings, and like I'm not into that either. Like it's not for me. But just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's not for somebody else. And I think we have this whole like mentality of like pushing our views
Preferences.
and yeah, on to other people. And it's like mad at you for not, accepting like what I say or what I think or what I like. And that's where you get into trouble.
thank you, Dantes, because I was thinking it. So you're saying that that's not much of Southern thing, except women with them door knockers in their nose. Yes, yes, a lot of the South that I've seen. Shout out to Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, minus Miami, but Miami do have this. All I see is the big guts and the big butts. We the women here thick. The women here thick. I don't see a lot of the nose pierce, whatever. But I agree with what Mel's saying. But I think there's that part, right? The tribalism. Hey, this is what I'm into. This is something that I'm enjoying for me, like Ruby said. But I also think most people that do that, it's like, okay, it got to be something wrong with you up here. The psyche back to the fitting in part. Let me fit in to get in. So I can't remember this woman's name, and I don't want to like pull up her picture up, but she has all the piercings. That was one. Then she died. She actually had her eyes dyed black, and then she had her tongue split in the middle like a snake. And I'm like, okay, what's enough is enough. So now I'll give you the text, right? I'm
Well,
good.
it's a man thing to do, though. I'm just saying the tattoo in your eyes and your skin all black and stuff. That's a more.
So when is enough is enough?
Is enough. Is enough.
Yeah. Now it might be most guys. It might be intriguing and momentary attractiveness, like, ooh, who is she? Whatever. Because most women have that same flip too when it comes to men and the things they have and don't have or whatever, like the motorcycle, right? Some women are like, ooh, he look dangerous. So men might do that the same thing with type of women like that. But I don't think they will actually, let's say, hold hands and walk in public with them, but they'll hang out at night times for a momentary, I guess, thrill. So I get it. I'm with Ruben on this one. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But I do think there's a section of men and women that do all this because they had a lot of issues in their past, and they're trying to, I guess, identify their self, and that's a way of them identifying themselves.
Yeah,
I have
but
a
you know
double
what, though? The
piercing in my
science doesn't
ear.
support that. So
You're a monster.
no, I'm sorry. It's just the
You're
science. The science
hideous.
doesn't support that at all. You can't just like we do research on this type of thing, including body modifications, right? And so, while you might be able to find the rare one-off occasion, the generalized reason why it is that people do body modifications and why it's existed for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands and thousands and thousands of centuries, is not because of some childhood trauma, right? Like, I mean, again, a lot of body modifications, you can still go to places in Europe and in Africa, are part of tribal belonging still to this day, where, for us, as Westerners, right, we would look at that and say, oh, it looks painful, it looks ugly, it looks whatever. Ooh, why would you want to ruin your face or your skin or your whatever like that? But for them, right, they see it as very beautiful. Actually, they would see you as lesser than, right, or lacking if you didn't have that type of piercing or marking or scarification or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with this.
well, that's what I mean, right? And that's my point. My point
Yeah.
is that I understand why you wouldn't choose it, right? You've made that clear. That's cool. But that's why looks are part of the equally yoked thing, right? Because what's good, what's a yuck for someone else is a yum for someone else. And that's okay, right? Like let's be honest about those things. Let's just come out as we are, right? This is what I like, right? And then don't try to attract everybody. Attract the people who like what you like. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
That's kind of like the problem I have when people find out I'm not, by definition, I guess, a churchgoer. And they automatically assume certain things about me. Like I'm evil or devil worshiper or something like that, when it's actually the opposite.
Was it the conspiracy theory that you did on the stream one time? Because that kind of threw me off for a hot minute. Was it that?
Wait, what?
Was it conspiracy theory? It was a topic y'all did on Nas about the theory or something. I don't know about. I don't want to say aliens or something. Like you went down a rabbit hole, and I was like,
oh yeah, no, I did that for the show, but no,
oh, okay.
It's definitely because I don't do middlemen. I don't do preachers, and Joel Osteen's and evangelists. I just don't.
Okay.
I pray directly to God. That's why I don't go to church.
Okay.
That's how I am. Like I grew up in almost a cult, really.
Yeah.
Now it's like perspective is just of the organized religion as a whole.
Yeah.
It's control. I feel like it's control.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got a question, and then we're gonna go into solutions and final thoughts. So, Traveling Fools, appreciate you, man. And I will reach out to you, bro, because I know you asked me about it, so I would love to come on your platform so we have a good conversation. I just need to know what the conversation is going to be about. He said, interesting topic, but why are some odd attractions being accepted while previous odd attractions being labeled as mental issues? Good question. Anybody want to take that?
Sure.
Could you put that
Go ahead, Wes.
It's because people have been taught to not value themselves. They've been taught that they're not enough. They've been taught that they have to go and do extra things, like what was it? The transmaxers. That's exactly. I mean, that's a mental incompetence. That's probably a whole plethora of friggin' mental diagnoses you can put on that, where it's a mental illness. But ultimately, it comes down to you don't value yourself, and everyone around you confirms to you that you're not worth it. And that's part of the evils of society that we're dealing with. And there's nothing new with this. It just takes different forms with each generation. It's been with us since the dawn of humanity. But this, like all other things in that area, self-hatred self-destructs. All these ideas that are promoting hatred, that are promoting self-destruction, they're going to eventually die out. It's built into the program. Like all these people that are getting surgeries to look like the opposite sex, they can't have kids. Where does the ideology go? For the most part, it leaves with them. And once I think society is going through a massive evolution right now, a lot of that weakness is going to die off. A lot of those bad ideas are going to, be fought off like an illness. Like when you fight off a cold, I mean, you never fight it off 100%. You fight it off 99%. It just lingers there for a while until you're weak enough for it to infect you again.
Fair enough. Cookie, Mel.
I mean, I think it's just a matter of like being able to evaluate, like, okay, is this a trend? Am I doing that? Am I wanting to get at this? Like you see, it used to be the Kardashian butts, and then the tiny little waist, or you can take it to piercings, and like if you're in, like why are you doing what you're doing, and is it gonna last? Like, are you still gonna feel the same way about your piercings today, no matter what, when you're 80? And like being able to like have some what's the word I'm looking for? Like reflection. But I don't think it's necessarily so. If it's not something that is basically what I'm trying to say is if it's not something that is like you're just doing it to keep up with the Joneses or like the girl next door, this what's on trend right now, then like that's who you are, and you don't need it. That's not a flashy, this fake, superficial thing. But so I would consider things like what you're saying, Wes, is like, yes, I could see where it could be sprout from mental illness, like if you're just doing things because of a trend, like we did that in high school. You should be able to evolve past that of like just picking up on whatever is the newest thing out. Like, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I think that attractions turn into mental illnesses when you've gone too far. People, you got to know when to stop. I think that's the biggest issue. Like, first of all, these women are out here getting buying bodies to look like me.
We're all going to be replaced by AIs anyway. So,
bruh, did you see the goggles now they got? We got the UR now. We can just. All right, I'm sorry. Yeah, tangent there.
These women are out here trying to get bodies like me and my sisters were born with, so that's offensive. So now we walk around and people question whether we're real or not. That's when it turns into like mental illness, when people actually start questioning what reality is and what isn't, but they're still attracted to fake bodies. And also when the women with the fake bodies, it starts with the breast aug, because okay, I've been flat chested my whole life. I'm gonna go get these gummy bears and get a C cup, and it's great. And then the body dysmorphia pops in, and then the next thing you know, they're triple D's, and their waist is 10 inches around, and their butt is 40 inches. Like, what? That's when the mental illness comes in, when they just can't realize. And this is on men and women's side, that they've gone too far. And when they look in the mirror, they don't see what everybody else is seeing. So that's what I think.
Hey, Cookie, do you believe that could be a form of manipulation too with the men? A little bit something like Ruby said, hit home from like, let me get the fake boobs, the gummy bears, let me get the fake butts. Then the men like that. Then once they see it's like, okay, now I'm convincing myself that's okay. Then let me do something else. That's okay. Now you got a man becoming a woman, physically.
So slowly being like baited into psychosis or being overdoing everything.
Psychosis is a
thing. Correct.
Yeah, I can see that be happening to a stupid person, and I don't even like using that word.
Okay.
But you gotta pay attention, and that shows a reflection of like how much you're really into you and how much you connect with yourself. Because at some point you're gonna be like, oh no, I'm doing too much. This is too much. You know what I mean? I know girls that have gotten boobs and that's it. That was their goal. They got them and they're done. But it takes a frail mind. I don't like to use weak mind. Frail mind to just keep going and going and going, or blackmail, according to Ruby.
Well, no, because no. The trans maxers. You have to remember, trans maxers. They are being drawn into this way before they've ever gotten a surgery, right? Like they're being drawn in, and
right,
absolutely. Then they take, right. So it's different. But when we're talking about people just getting surgeries for their own, not because of trans vaccine, just whatever, right?
Right. That's what I was on first.
Yeah. That's a little, because then you have people, because there are addictions, right? So people can become addicted to anything, including plastic surgery. But then,
or
and then you have the other side, body dysmorphia, right? Like, because they're kind of sort of being talked about like they're the same thing, but they're not, right? If you have body dysmorphia, It's like you're looking and you're seeing a problem that no one else can see, right? Like you think your lips are too small or your boobs are too small or whatever, and everyone else is seeing, they're like, wow, they look so oversized to the point of ridiculousness. But
Exactly.
you're like, it's a level of psychosis. You're not seeing what everyone else is seeing. That's
Yeah.
very different than an addiction. Like an addiction has to do with kind of it, as crazy as it sounds, they're getting the same type of high off of doing the surgeries and whatever that you would from doing drugs or alcohol or anything else that you could be addicted to.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. And so we have to look at it as like anything can basically become an addiction, right? So we can't look at like the actual concept of, well, you had a tattoo or you got some tattoos or you got some piercings as mental illness in and of itself. The reason why we have more people getting tattoos and piercings, at least visible ones and whatever, is because now we have a society that is not
More acceptable.
yeah, right. We're not going to say, oh yeah, we'll just send you to prison, or you'll never get a proper job if you have a tattoo I can see, or it's okay for us to judge emo goth kids or whatever, right? Like we have a different society now, so it allows people to engage in these things and express themselves without basically being ostracized from all of society. Does that make them mentally ill? Again, no. What is wrong with you having your own standard and belief system of what is beautiful, or what self-expression means? As long as it's not going to the place where you're harming yourself or others, or it's literally interfering with your ability to engage in normal life, it's not abnormal, right? It's
Right.
just
So
it's
when
your own expression.
I have a question for you though. So when do you think body modifications, BBLs, breast augs, all of those hips things, when do you believe that becomes a level of a psychosis? Like at what phase do you think? Do you think that it's all addiction, or do you think that some people actually are seeing something in the mirror that we aren't seeing?
No. So I think they're two different things, right? So you can tell when someone has body dysmorphia. That's the psychosis where they're literally seeing something we're not seeing. And you can tell because they'll tell you their chest is flat as a pancake. And you look and they have like triple D's and you're like, girl, you've had like 4 breast augmentations. And she's like, no, they're still really tiny. And you're like, bro, you look like you're gonna fall, like tip over from the weight. Like it's no, right? So it's still very obvious that they are seeing something that no one else is seeing, and they'll tell you. That's different than the addiction. You know that it's an addiction versus someone just saying, hey, no, I had this goal of looking like a Barbie, and I'm not, it's 5 more surgeries and I'm done. And it's weird to us, but it's still normal versus addiction, because it starts to interfere. And this is how we know like anything is abnormal, is that it starts to interfere with that person's actual life, right? So for example, maybe they can't pay their bills, but it doesn't matter as long as they can get the next surgery. They might be prostituting themselves. Doesn't matter as long as they can get the next surgery. They might lose their job. Doesn't matter as long as they can get the next surgery. They may tell you there's a high risk you're going to die. Doesn't matter as long as you can get the next surgery, right? So you're seeing them. It's interfering with their life, with their future, with their ability to do other things, but it doesn't matter because the perspective is they need that next hit, right? They're acting like buckets. Yeah, like they're literally acting like they're addicted to that thing, right?
They break it into houses.
No, they will. They will
to get their breasts.
Checks, like, and you'll see people going to prison over this, and they really do, to try to get that BBL, to try to get that whatever. Like that's a problem. Like if you are willing to go to prison and lose everything else in your life to get a surgery, that is abnormal behavior. Now that is abnormal. Your mind is not working like normal people's minds. It's 100%.
Thank you. You answered my question. It was great. Thank you.
You don't get it. I built this place. Down here, I make the rules.
All right. So with that being said, we're gonna do our final thoughts. Mel, definitely appreciate you for hanging in with us. I normally do like 2 hours. Yeah, appreciate you. I normally do like 2 hours less. I don't like to long stroke it because I value everybody's time. Yeah, especially free time. So final thoughts, Wes, Miss Cookie, Ruby, and then we'll let Mel go, and then we'll get the poop out of here. And again, thank you everybody for coming on through. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. People on the replay, hit the like. Let us know in the comments what you think about each person that gave a great perspective on the conversation. So there you go.
Well, my closing thoughts are, closing thoughts I normally have is one, value yourself, make loving decisions for yourself. And that's the best way to navigate, this world that's very hard to understand. Start with yourself. And when looking, you can find, let me think here, something to understand. There's very little difference between the truth and a lie, and the best lies are completely true. It's just how they present it to you. That's when it makes it so easy for certain things like Andrew Tate to get through to people. Because a lot of stuff is actually true. It's just those little bit of things that he omits or manipulates that turns it into a lie that can destroy your life. So take everything with a grain of salt. Figure out, is he truly making loving decisions for himself? Is that what he's doing? Is that how you make a loving decision for yourself? So look at things through that lens. And
I agree 100% with you, Wes. I would just like to add to the people, read between the lines. Pay attention. Second guess, ask questions before you blindly follow people. Do your research. I'm huge on research about people because everybody is not out to do good. They're not.
Amen.
They want to take advantage of you and your wallet. And we went through all these. Ruby went through all those. She went through narcissists, sociopaths. Some of these people are showing these traits because they don't care what happens to you after that last post goes up. And you need to understand and realize and recognize it because it's right there in front of your face, and love yourself enough to say, this person is not aligning with my beliefs. Have your belief system that you create and find something that someone or something that aligns with that, and don't just jump on a bandwagon because that bandwagon might lead you on a road to hell. That's all I think.
All right, fair enough. Miss Mel?
I mean, just go back to what my daddy said. Why are you going to stand on that? And this, life's not fair, and it is what it is. You make the best of it. You do put love first, and the hate you give forks everybody, to go back to what, that was a book that was, I think that so many people get wrapped up in the superficial topics to avoid having the deeper topics, and people don't know how to argue anymore. So learn how to do that. It'll serve you well. I don't know.
Right.
I'm tired.
Are you, Ruby?
Okay. Well, actually, I will say this is a really awesome discussion. Very refreshing because, a lot of times you get into this type of discussion about YouTube daddies and such, and all you hear is parasocial over and over again. And it's all people can talk about. And it's like, okay, but parasocial relationships in reality are not actually all harmful. And it's the same thing as kind of what I've been saying, I don't want to say like that we've all been saying or whatever, but, so speaking for myself, that I've been saying that, there's a line of demarcation or differentiation between what's healthy and what's unhealthy, right? Is it okay for us to have idols? Is it okay for us to want to belong? Is it okay for us to create tribes? Is it okay for us to want rites of passage, going from one stage to the next? Is it okay yes, all of these things are actually okay. They're totally normal. They're totally natural. Okay. We evolved to do these things. We evolved to want these things. It doesn't matter how much we have changed society in the last 10,000 years. We stopped evolving 10,000 years ago. So all of these wants and needs and desires we have within, those stopped evolving 10,000 years ago too. Okay, so we like tribalism, we like belonging. We're really good at making snap judgments that suck about other people. Look up the fundamental attribution error, and you'll understand why it is that all of Andrew Tate's little sheep can make every excuse in the book for Andrew Tate. Facts, right? But there's a reason why they make so much excuses for Andrew Tate and Tristan and those people. But yet when they're talking about anyone else doing the same thing, they're going to look at that person like they're trash. There's a reason. It's called the fundamental attribution error. It's something that we do. And so, I think the problem is we like to, a lot of times, not us on our panel, I think we did excellently to not do this, but a lot of people like to talk about this like, oh, it's just such a simple answer. Like, just get rid of these people or just silence these people or da-da-da. And it's like, no, if you silence someone, you make them a martyr, right? If you just try to get rid of these people, guess what? More people will just come in and fill the void. Why do you think Pearl blew up? Because Kevin Samuels passed away, and that created a void, and someone needs to fill that space. And it became a supposedly 26 going on 40-year-old white woman, right? How did she become the leader of the Black Manosphere? No one's really sure, especially since one of the first stories she told was how she Me Too'd a black man. So strange. But the point is, still somehow she became a YouTube daddy, right? So it's obviously not quite so simple as just get rid of them. Let's just this. Let's just that. We can't, because we evolved to make this happen. As messed up as it sounds, we evolved to make this happen. There's a reason why they won't elevate married people to teach them how to become married, but they'll elevate people exactly like them who've never been married and have always failed at relationships to teach them how to become married, right? That's tribalism. That's trusting people who are the most like you and not trusting people who are the least like you. That is something we evolved to do. So, in that sense, I understand why earlier we had Wes and Mel talking about how they like Jordan Peterson. I liked him too for that reason. He was coming with this type of facts because we need to understand this. If we want to solve the problem, we have to understand why people do what they do. We have to. We have to understand the evolutionary history of why people do what they do, right? But now we're in this place where it's like we just want to let it keep running buck wild. We don't want to learn anything about it. We're just going to let it run wild and judge people and point fingers and be like, oh, I'm not that bad. Well, I wouldn't have done that. That's not helping, right? Because we have shooter after shooter now, even, right? Like the things that are happening are letting us know that this YouTube daddy, YouTube deity thing is really, really harmful, and not just in one area. It's not just the incels, right? It's in the women's sectors as well. It's in the white sectors, black sectors, money sectors, name a sector, and it's happening all around the internet, right? So I think we need to be having this discussion more often in a more varied way, and especially the part about what's the solution, because I don't have the answer what the solution is, but I don't think we're going to get there without us having the discussion, because this is a unique time in history. We've never had this happen before, and without all of us banding together, I don't think we're going to solve it. So thank you for having me, Angela. As always, it is always a massive pleasure to be here. Love having this type of discussion with like minds, brilliant minds, you know what I mean? People who actually want to think and discuss and can disagree without disrespecting. It's always wonderful. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's all I can do is ask questions. That's all I can do. I appreciate everybody for coming on through. So drop everybody, get my ugly face in here, because I am dumb as rocks. It's all good. I love me. I love me. This was a fun one. In the morning, I will break down, and you're more than welcome, Mel, if you have the time. I say like 11 Central Time I end. I'll go over the energy vampires with the traits of narcissists, and a little bit of the flying monkeys, because we finished it off there last week about the flying monkeys with the narcissistic trait. So we'll also tackle the traits of the energy vampire. All right, so everybody get learned and educated on that part. As far as the topic today, again, is evil necessary within the media today, especially within YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and then some? Also ask yourself, hey, are you really questioning these ideas? Classic Ruby said it best: the YouTube daddies, the YouTube mommies. We'll give Pearl example. Shout out to her. I'm not gonna knock any of her success, but let's understand what the influence is. I am a 26/26-year-old woman that's not currently in a relationship, been single for 2 to 3+ years. I'm not married, I'm not engaged, but yet I'm preaching and teaching relationship goals and values, but I have no experience whatsoever. Also, I have 4 channels, and one of the channels that's over 100K is teaching women how to be a housewife. Does that make sense to you? Yes or no? All right. We have Nick Fuentes, started off as 18 years old into the Daily Wire, heavy into the politics, rah-rah cheering for Kanye West, aka Yeezy, as they call him. A big fan of Putin, his words, not mine. Also a big fan of Russia's politics. Also a big fan of Trump. Like him or hate him. Also preaches that, hey, he's in his mid to young 20s. Preacher said, hey, he wished everything can go back to early 50s and 60s. Wish everybody can be the same, but yet, unfortunately, we don't know what the same is. He's talk about race, right? All races be the same. All whites, all blacks, all this. Everybody should be in. He's fine with dating the opposite race, but not marrying them, not understanding them, not whatsoever. But at the same time, he has a Italian mother. He has a Mexican father. Yet he's proud of his mom's side, the Italian side, but not proud of his dad's side. That's a question right there he had to answer himself. Now we have Andrew Tate, the quote-unquote top G, the guys that have the Bugattis, the guys that have all the cars. Start off as a, respect himself as a kickboxer, got successful doing his thing, came up to his prime, up to the top tier. Now he got down to $75,000 left to his thing. Hey, how can I be even more successful? All right. He went from trying to gamble, lack of a better word, pissed it away. Now here we are to let me try and get real estate. Didn't work out for himself. You can check all the uploads that I have before. His words, not mine, on how he gave a blueprint, webcam business, hustling, manipulating, tricking women to do the webcam, traveling from another state, cross country, to come with him and to say, hey, bam, let me spring it on you. I got other women that say they love me, other women that want to be involved with me. Now, because a lot of choices that he made has got him stuck with 3 top charges in another country that he, again, chose to leave outside the States. He can't be successful in the United States, but somehow let me be successful in another country that promotes, again, his words, is okay with a lot of crimes, is okay with a lot of corruption, but now he's screaming that it's a corrupt country. You knew that before you got there. So now you got 3 top charges against you. You got rape, you got sex trafficking, and you got tax evasion. All right. And now here we are now. He's actually going through it. So is these the type of individuals that you want to put all your eggs in the handbasket and say, hey, these are people I want to follow with no lack of experience, no real guidance, no empathy on what to you guys, the viewers, does that show real empathy? That is something that we have to look within ourselves individually. Okay. Again, shout out to Nathan. I have to reach out to you again so we can have this one-on-one about Pearl. I saw the video. Shout out to her. She's always talking about context. I'm all for context. So all for context. So I will reach out to Nathan daily and we can have a conversation because he feels that Pearl is not racist. I am challenging that argument. I believe she is from the video. I don't care about everything else she did based on the video before and after. So we'll have that. So again, guys, I appreciate you. Hit the thumbs up, thumbs down. All works with the algorithm. If you're new, hit the bell notification. So we appreciate you, and we will call it a day.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
At last.
throne's mine. The future's here and it's my time. Straight shot, going for the head with it. Take his head off and say that I did it. Good riddance. Say hi to the bad guy, I'm back in business. If you took what's mine, I'm back to get it. There's nothing you can do, I'm back with vengeance. Now turn me loose. Now turn me loose.